These things are huge. Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings laundry packs have 4 times the Oxy cleaning power and 3 times the Febreze freshness versus Gain Original Liquid.
Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings for next level laundry.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today. MSRP for stock number 26315 is $30,585.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 2 tickets to see The Weeknd live at Lumen Field on July 12th. Head to seattlesports.com/win to enter and to see contest rules. That's seattlesports.com/win for your chance to win.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
1 year after an entire summer was spent speculating about a Brandon Ayuk trade, another 49ers receiver is asking out. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported Sunday Deebo Samuel requested a trade during his exit meeting following the 2024 season. Quote, "It was a hard conversation to have with Kyle because of the relationship we have," Samuel said, "but I have to do what's best." The Mariners announced this morning Ichiro Suzuki will throw out the ceremonial first pitch for opening day. Suzuki was a near unanimous addition to the Baseball Hall of Fame last month.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles, winners of Super Bowl 59, and congratulations to Matt Nelson, the person in this building who knows and cares the least about sports and yet won our office bracket. Matt, I was going to ask you when you came in whether you knew the Eagles won. When did you find out?
Curtis texted me that they were in the league, and then Brady texted me that they had won.
Okay, so you had it spoiled for you. Do
Real
you
shame.
know the final score? How many points did the Eagles score, Matt?
The Eagles scored 100 points.
It felt like it. This is what I'm saying.
Million
Ball
points.
knower Matt Nelson just had a good feeling about it. 40-22 was the final score. Some garbage time touchdowns in there for KC. This was a game that was probably really fun to watch as an Eagles fan. Certainly an interesting, enjoyable, surprising watch as an NFL fan, and probably a nightmare for KC fans. We'll start with this one, and I've got a couple stats to go over, and we'll go through each of these aspects of the game. But, Bump, how soon did you know the Eagles would win?
When each team possessed the ball twice. That's all it took.
I was going to say early.
I never saw Pat Mahomes look so uncomfortable. It's crazy. And you know when a quarterback is uncomfortable when he gets to his drop and his legs just split automatically. He's already looking for an escape route. I never saw that with Jalen Hurts. Maybe a couple times they caught him on a blitz. That interception that he thrown was a great call by Spags on the blitz. But it didn't feel like a dominant, confident type of Pat Mahomes, and it was all because of that defensive line. The Eagles were able to get after the quarterback, only rushing 3. 47 dropbacks I think he had. 0 times he was blitzed.
None.
Yet it felt like he had players all around him wearing green, making him want to get up out of there. And then there was a play to Travis Kelce, either the first or second drive, where it's a typical I'm throwing across my body, finding Travis Kelce in the middle of the zone type play, and they can't connect. And it just looked like everything was a bit slower, a bit off. That was the first time I looked at the Chiefs and said, man, they look kind of old out there. I know they're not old, but they felt and looked kind of old because this young Philly defense was phenomenal.
So a very related question, did we overlook Philly's talent? Where did analysts and critics and fans err in our discussion about this game? Because, I mean, I was looking at 60 experts from ESPN making their picks, and it was almost 2-3 for the Chiefs. And I can understand people looking at history, but upon watching the game, you just go, did we lose this? Like, did we not realize the talent gap between these two teams?
I think most people thought that Philly was the better team, but I also think most people thought that the Pat Mahomes magic was real, that Andy Reid magic is real. Spags calling that defense over there has been balling. Travis Kelce showed you he can turn it up to a different level during the postseason. I think most people who watch football understood that on paper, Philly is the better team, but you have to see it. It's almost like when Mike Tyson fought who? Jake Paul was the last one he fought? When everyone knows Jake Paul is probably the better fighter because he's 25 years old and Mike is dang near 60, but we just have to see it first. That's human nature that creeps into that. And I was the same. I know on this show, I thought that KC was going to win, and I flipped my pick right before the Super Bowl, and I'm like, no, I'm going with the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to win. But it's because of the history. And I don't think anyone's wrong for thinking that Pat Mahomes would have a spectacular game and win this thing. That Spags calling that defense and the way they've been blitzing 34 to 37% of the time would get after Jalen Hurts, knowing that the Chiefs were going to pack that box in and make Jalen beat you with his arm. I think that's what everyone was banking on, too, is, all right, they're going to stop Saquon Barkley, but they're going to make Jalen try to beat you with his arm. And most people thought he couldn't do that. Surprise, surprise, man, MVP.
I think that you had a game against the Commanders in which the Eagles dropped 50-plus points, and then followed by a game where the team scored 40 points, obviously, against the Kansas City Chiefs. But I felt like it was two different stories of how they dominated these games.
Yeah.
To me, that Commanders game was the Jalen Hurts not coming out story, but I mean, he played his two best games when it mattered most, right? In the Super Bowl and in the NFC Championship game. So too, arguably, did Jalen Carter. And I think that the defensive line for Philly was very clearly the story in this one. Going back to that stat that you said earlier, 0 blitzes and how many sacks of Patrick Mahomes? 6. I think it was the most times he'd ever been sacked in a Super Bowl, one shy of a Super Bowl record. If you want to find a single stat that tells the story of, okay, well, why did the Eagles win? It's that, right?
I think that plays a huge part in it. You could definitely make an argument for that. I said on Friday's show, I pointed out the explosive plays, right? Now, I pointed out that the Eagles had 49 explosive plays in the past, about 20 plus. And they were pretty similar when you look at the regular season explosive plays. And I want to tip my cap to KC. I know we're looking at this defense. You're looking at the points and you're saying, why would you tip your cap? I tip my cap because they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They wanted to keep Saquon Barkley in check. There was one point where my man had like 10 carries, 15 yards or something like that.
Nowhere.
They did exactly that. He ended the game with 25 carries, 50-plus yards. And on to the flip side, I can appreciate that Philly was stubborn with it. They still made you respect Saquon Barkley. 25 carries, 50-something yards, and also had some impact in the pass game as well. But the Chiefs did exactly what they were supposed to do, what they wanted to do, make Jalen beat you. What does he do? You have a 20-yard play to Goddard. 46-yard play to Smith. You got a 20-yard play to Dotson, 22 to AJ, 22 to Saquon. When it was time for him to make a play with his arm, he did exactly that, and then he led the team in the rush game as well. The Chiefs executed their game plan. They just didn't expect that Jalen Hurts would have the game that he would have and become the Super Bowl MVP.
Well, and maybe they didn't expect that their offensive line, to which they've invested a ton of money, a top 5 spender up front, wouldn't be able to hang with the defensive ends for the Eagles, who had one of their best games of the season, too. Let's focus on just the quarterbacks, and this is going to be a retread, but I'm going back to Jalen Hurts. This was Jalen after the game.
Your values never change. You know, I think in the end, it comes down to how people look at you. I'm going to always be the same guy. You know, and I was telling someone earlier, I'm that same kid that went to the national championship and lost and went back and got benched and had to transfer and had to go through this just unprecedented journey. That kid always kept the main thing, and always was true to his vision and what he saw. It all began with great leadership, really began with really just doing it the right way, trying to do it the right way and do the right things. And kind of went into a set the example type of thing, and I give a lot of credit to my parents in that.
Now, good head on his shoulders, Jalen Hurts has. However, the truth is, Jalen, that your value does change with a Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
And the way that people talk about you does change with a Super Bowl win. So how are we talking about Jalen today?
I think it's time that he's elevated in the quarterback conversation. I don't think he is one of the top 4. I think those spots are reserved for you-know-who. But I also think that he was able to do something that a lot of his counterparts have not been able to do, which is take down Pat Mahomes. Joe Burrow did it but couldn't finish the job, getting to the Super Bowl and losing to McVay. But the two quarterbacks we've been talking about all year, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, have not been able to do it, not even the conference championship game. Now you get to the Super Bowl, and you win the ball game, 17 of 22. My man has been poised this whole playoffs. So far this playoffs, right? He had a game where he completed 61% of his passes against Green Bay. Then he goes 75%, 71%, 77% last night, 71% overall when it comes to completion, 68% during the regular season. He stepped his game up and also accounted for 5 rushing touchdowns. I think you elevate him to a different category. He's not the elite of the elite, but I think that he's right below those guys looking up. You got to respect it. A guy who had an off year last year, I believe he was second in the NFL when it comes to accounting for turnovers, kind of erases that whole deal, gets back to the playoffs, does have help. There's a great team that they put together around him. Saquon, AJ, Devontae, Goddard, all of those guys. But if Jalen Hurts doesn't have the game that he had, they don't win that ball game. The Chiefs did exactly what they wanted to do. Stop Saquon from going off, make Jalen have to beat you.
Absolutely. Again, Saquon Barkley just 57 yards on 25 carries. That is a horrible yards per carry average. Let's look at the quarterback on the other side. Patrick Mahomes from Bill Barnwell is 33 yards, were the fewest posted by him in a first half ever in his career. He was sacked more times than in any other game in his career. I think that the discourse that I've heard, at least, about Patrick Mahomes after this game, in no way do people that I listen to say, oh, maybe I need to reevaluate how I see Mahomes. I think that what I've noticed, Bump, and I'm curious as to whether you feel this way, is that there may just be more ground to make up this offseason for the Chiefs than we all anticipated. We all felt like, oh, they could win a three-peat, and then they're right in the middle of this dynasty, and they aren't going anywhere. It became very obvious that this is not the best receiver group. This is not the best running back room. This is not the best offensive line, even though they're investing a ton of resources, that they have some talent gaps.
Yeah, they do, because when you narrow it down to 2 teams, those are the best in the game, right? So you're looking
There's
at
one winner.
Yeah, you're looking at a Philly defense that is more talented than this offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a big ups Sweat, Card over there. Nolan Smith did his thing. It was a collective group. And also we got to realize that the Kansas City Chiefs have some movement going on with their offensive line. They had to move Tooney to a tackle spot. That's not naturally where he plays. He's more of a guard spot. And they knew and zeroed in on him. They were doing stunts. I mean, they were getting after him and making him uncomfortable. And that was the first time I watched and looked at Tooney, and he looked uncomfortable, you know? So I think that when it's all said and done, the team with more talent won that ball game.
Yeah.
And the team with the best quarterback, with a tight end who's going into the Hall of Fame, a defensive tackle who's going into the Hall, you got a coach over there. They're the shinier product. They're the ones that people want to believe in because they've shown you year after year that they can do it. But what Philly did was a heck of a game plan. They did not have to blitz Pat Mahomes like crazy. Didn't blitz him at all. They rushed 4. They dropped 7. They rallied to the football. They tackled. They forced Mahomes to make questionable decisions. Like his 2 interceptions are something that we typically don't see from him. Cooper DeJean just playing the zone, reading his eyes. Pat Mahomes throwing across his body, something that we're used to seeing him complete. Cooper DeJean all over that thing. Braun, the linebacker again. Mahomes getting pressure on the left side, gets clipped on his leg, has to throw a football. You make it play. I also pointed out that Pat Mahomes does turn the football over in the playoffs. And before then, only 10 points were scored, in the Super Bowl. Before then, only 10 points were scored off of his turnovers, I believe 4 or 5 interceptions. They got points off of both of them things this time. I mean, that's a big turning point. And once you start looking at your quarterback, who's supposed to be the best in the game, and you look in his eyes, and I'm sure you saw it too, Stacy. You look at his eyes, it ain't the fire that we're used to seeing. No. He's standing there thinking, this is going to be a long day.
Exactly right. Another question for you. This one coming up on the Mac and Jack's text line, but I was listening to the Ringer NFL show kind of recap the game, and I really like it because Sheo Kapadia, friend of the show, he used to cover the Seahawks, and he knows a ton about the Eagles, so offers really great insight. There's another host on there, Deontay Lee, though, and he said that he felt like Jalen Hurts' performance was reminiscent of Russell Wilson a little bit at his very best. Do you see similarities between the two outside of, obviously, both are, day 2 picks who can be mobile, but do you see more similarities in their game?
Yeah, for sure. More similarities in their game and their situation. Russell didn't have to win a ball game. You just be efficient and don't turn the ball over. Let your D-line get active. Let your linebackers make plays. Let that secondary do your thing. Yeah, and one of the things that made Russell great in his prime, especially when he was here, was him taking the opportunity to run the football, right? Nothing's there. Right, Jalen had a run like 14 of 17 or something like that. Ended with 72 rushing yards, the most in a Super Bowl for a quarterback. He took those opportunities. He didn't force a football down the field. He stepped up in the pocket, and big ups to that offensive line as well. Even though that Chiefs defensive line was great against the run, did a good job getting through the double teams and allowing their linebackers to go nuts. I mean, I'm looking at their linebackers and their safety help. They were doing their thing in the run game. But when it came down to throwing the football, Jalen Hurts, when there was nothing there, he didn't force it, didn't panic. I saw him take the check downs. I saw him step up, keep his eyes down the field, run the football, pick up a couple first downs on third. He was in complete control of the situation. He looked more in control than Pat Mahomes from the very first snap.
Yeah. Let's see. By the way, credit to Cooper DeJean, too, on his birthday, 22 years old, to give a gift to the rest of his team. Yeah, Saquon's birthday, to have two teammates the exact same birthday. That birthday happens to be the Super Bowl. They're both playing in it, and they both win. Obviously, being on the same team was very, very cool. All right, let's see. Before we get to headline rewrites, I have a couple more stats I want to get to. What did you make overall? You said that Jalen Hurts did enough to win this game in that he didn't make mistakes and made big plays when it matters. You're absolutely right. Saquon Barkley was bottled up. So basically, Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs' defense really did their game plan. The Chiefs were behind 34-0 during the third quarter, and yet the Eagles have some interesting stats offensively, also from Bill Barnwell. They were 3 of 12 on third down. Do you think that the score speaks to, I guess, speaks more highly of the offensive performance than we really saw? Did you just say, hey, this is how you win ball games? Like, what did you make overall of the offensive contributions from the Eagles?
40-22 don't serve no justice. It felt like it was 40-7.
It should have been. Garbage time touchdowns.
I mean, big ups. Xavier Worthy had himself a good game. You look at his stats, with over $150 and a couple of touchdowns, I believe. But I think the offense showed how balanced they could be. That even though you're stopping the run, we're not going to shy away from it. We're still going to make you respect it. We're going to make you stay in that 3 safety look, walk that third safety down, and have to play inside the box so we have more space on the outside. We understand that just a threat of Saquon Barkley back there is going to make you respect it and pack this thing in. Therefore, we're going to have more throwing lanes. RPO is going to look a bit better. So I think that Kellen Moore knew coming into this game, everyone knew coming into this game what the Chiefs were going to do or going to try to do. And Kellen Moore said, I got a guy who's completing 70% of his passes, 68% during the regular season, who doesn't get enough credit for what he brings to the table because he's overshadowed by the talent around him. I trust him. I'm going to let him throw the football. That back shoulder to A.J. Brown was beautiful. That bomb to Devontae Smith, finding Goddard going across the field, just throwing the checkdowns and keeping guys involved. There's a couple footballs his receivers could have caught that were dropped. I mean, there was only one throw where he got blitzed. There was a miscommunication on the offensive line. The center didn't slide when he was supposed to. He gets hit, not allowed to follow through. He throws an interception. That was the only blemish I saw from Jalen Hurts. So I think that I remember watching this game and thinking to myself, this is probably the most complete game from one team I've seen in a while in the Super Bowl.
Last one and the most important question before we get to headline rewrites. When is too early for a Gatorade bath? Because, look, the Eagles were winning this game, and it was obvious from the start of the second half, frankly, but certainly by the start of the fourth quarter. The Chiefs were not getting back in it. Nick Sirianni, Gatorade bath with just under 3 minutes remaining. Look, part of me watching it was like, they've won.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Sure, do the Gatorade bath. However, another part of me was like, you still got like 10 plus minutes of real time in this game left.
I'm not mad at it.
2:50 left on the clock.
That's how they felt. I literally wrote the note down. Gatorade bath
too early?
with 2 minutes and 52 seconds remaining. What's the earliest Gatorade bath we've seen? Somebody look that up for me.
Someone please find it. I mean, obviously, you immediately think of Super Bowl 48, which was a blowout, right? And we know that well here in Seattle. So I was thinking, like, when was Pete Carroll given the Gatorade bath in Super Bowl 48? Because there are Super Bowls where it is just obvious. It is obvious. It's done. Finito. The Gatorade bath can happen. But I think that there is a level of tact and a weirdness with, like, the Chiefs. Didn't they score a touchdown after the Gatorade bath?
They did.
Not that it did anything, but yeah. I'm glad we were both on the same page there. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, Fox's Jay Glazer reports the Jets and Aaron Rodgers are expected to part ways this offseason. What's the real headline?
Aaron Rodgers is expected to part ways with reality during its next ayahuasca trip.
Might as well, man. Get out there and live your life and just get peaceful again.
Are you surprised at all?
I was surprised. I thought they only have so many options, right? They have the 7th pick in the NFL draft. Tennessee has the 1st pick. We assume they're taking a quarterback. The Browns, number 2. I would hope they take a quarterback. You got the Giants at number 3, and you have Vegas at 7. Everyone else, I think, already has a quarterback. So what are your options? Are you trying to convince Sam Darnold to come back to New York? Are you flirting with Kirk Cousins? Are you talking to Russell Wilson? Or are you just going to sit back and with that 7th pick take the 3rd or 4th quarterback in Jackson Dart or maybe Kyle McCord or Monroe? Or are you going to try to move up? It's interesting. I thought that you would keep a veteran like Aaron Rodgers there just for the short term to kind of get things going. But I'm not mad at the move either. Like Aaron Glenn, make this thing your team. If you feel like you want to start from scratch, get a quarterback in there, a young quarterback, go ahead and do your thing, even if it's an old quarterback, because Aaron Rodgers comes with a lot of baggage, and maybe he just don't want to deal with that. I was surprised, but I don't think it's a bad move.
Yeah, I think one of the things about a bad quarterback market is that what you and I both thought, like, well, you might as well stick with Aaron Rodgers. Like, who else are you going to find? But that also means sometimes that there's not a massive dip between who you're going to find with the version of Aaron Rodgers that we ended up seeing the past couple of years. Maybe they feel like, this, like you said, this new head coach deserves someone else, and we'll see what happens.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, the 49ers have granted Deebo Samuel permission to seek a trade. What's the real headline?
A 49ers receiver requesting a trade starting to become an exciting new offseason tradition.
Who's the other one?
Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, yeah. He held out, got his money. Here's the thing with Deebo. Deebo's not a receiver. He's an athlete. He can catch the football. He can run the rock. I was trying to explain this to my son. He was so baffled. Like, why would they allow this to happen? He's 29 years old. He's been getting banged up. He's more of a utility athlete type of guy. You watch him run his routes, they're not the greatest. I'm not disrespecting Deebo. He is a good football player, but his routes aren't the greatest. He isn't a true receiver. They got a guy named Brandon Ayuk, who's the best receiver over their best route runner. You got Pearsall, who showed towards the end of the year that he can be a contributor. And then don't sleep on Juwan Jennings, right? 975 yards, six touchdowns, 77 receptions. They have guys over there. I don't think they're looking at Deebo and saying, what are we going to do without him? I think they're looking at that receiving core. They're looking at George Kittle coming back. They're looking at Christian McCaffrey hopefully being healthy and saying to themselves, we can still run our offense. I think whoever picks up Deebo Samuel, you're going to get a unicorn, something that we don't typically see. But for the Niners, I don't think this would be a huge loss.
I was looking at, so Deebo's best season, as you said, it clearly was not this past year, 670 yards, 3 touchdowns on 51 receptions. His best season was in 2021. And we had, plenty of conversations just as an NFL world at the time about what kind of player is this, something that you just talked about now. So knowing that we were talking about Deebo here and his best season being 21, also remembering Cooper Kupp's, Triple Crown season in 2021, I just went back to 2021 to be like, did we really see like 2 of the best seasons from 2 NFC West massive weapons? And just a trip down memory lane. Deebo was actually 5th in receiving yards. Cooper Kupp was obviously 1st. 2 massive seasons, still their career best seasons. Can you guess one of 2, 3, or 4? 2021's best receivers.
2021. Amon-Ra is too young. I don't think he was in the league yet.
You'll know all of these.
Tyreek Hill.
No, Tyreek was 7 with 1,200.
Was Jefferson in the game yet?
Yes, Justin Jefferson is number 2 with 16,
DJ Moore?
16. No, DJ Moore is 11th.
Julio Jones?
I believe this was his rookie season, maybe?
It was a
Rookie? Maybe his second
was
season.
Was it DeKalen?
It was Jamar Chase.
Jamar.
1,400 yards. And then Devontae Adams in there, number 3 at 1,500.
Okay. I'd say Deebo, a great football player, not a great receiver. He's a cheat code, a magic trick. That's what he is.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, after only 1 game with the Mavericks, Anthony Davis is now expected to miss up to a month with an adductor strain. What's the real headline?
Yeah, a few extra pounds doesn't sound so bad now, does it, Mavericks?
Yo, I'm watching this go down live.
Yeah.
I'm watching AD go to the rack, yam that thing in there, talking to the crowd. I'm here. And then I see the old familiar bent over, grabbing something around his stomach move, and I go, Dallas, Dallas, Dallas. Welcome to what the Lakers have gone through for 6 seasons. I know they got to be hot. They already didn't want this trade to go down. AD plays 2.5 minutes. I'm joking. And he goes down with an injury. It's unfortunate, man. But guess what? Luka premieres tonight, so I'll watch that.
Sometimes there's like a weird satisfaction of, like, do you guys ever tell your spouse or maybe a friend, like a family member, you tell them something, they don't do it, and then it happens? I wonder if there were Mavs fans that felt that way. You know what I mean? Where you're like, I don't know, I kind of think we should stop by and ask for directions. And then you get lost and you're like, I can't tell if I'm angry or happy.
It reminds me of that video of Shannon Sharp back when he was hosting with Skip Bayless, where he just kind of points the cameras like, see.
That's exactly what this is. Like, there are Mavs fans that like had a weird satisfaction from like, what did I tell you, Nico? What did I tell you?
Mine is dealing with a 15-year-old who thinks he knows everything. And then I tell him how it's going to go down. And he's like, Dad, you're right. I go, you think? I
think about your situation just living with and dealing with teenagers every time I go to get coffee, because it's a high school. So all the kids are in there getting coffee, and the conversations they have. I passed a group of boys who said that the Chiefs should fire Andy Reid. And I wanted to turn around and be like, yes. Just join into the conversation. It's very, very big conversations happening from these kids. I loved it. We just saw maybe the most talented Eagles team ever win a Super Bowl, but just 4 years ago, they were coming off a 4-win season. Inside that turnaround is where Seattle can learn a very important lesson. That's next.
The Hot Stove Show, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m.
Have I ever told you how much I enjoy doing the Hot Stove Show?
Every day.
I mean, this is truly one of the best ways that we have to get to know some of these guys. Long-form conversation. You don't have the pressures of the season. You're not in the clubhouse, right? There's not a hitters meeting or a pitchers meeting to go to. I think we get some of our very best stuff from all these guys, players and coaches, front office members, right here each and every week during the winter.
Stay up to date on the Mariners off-season. The Hot Stove Show, every Tuesday leading up to spring training.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Are you constantly dealing with a runny nose, allergies, congestion, sinusitis, or postnasal drip? Hey, it's Dr. Ryan Stern of the Stern Sinus Center. Rhine Air is a simple, non-invasive procedure that significantly reduces your postnasal drip and stuffiness. We're proud this year the Stern Sinus Center was just named a nationwide center of excellence. We're also excited to welcome another allergy surgeon and ear surgeon to our practice. Schedule your appointment in Auburn or Federal Way or go to sternsinus.com.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
Did you know that your windows and doors are your main source of energy loss? At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, our windows with triple weather stripping and gasket seals are up to 25% more efficient than Energy Star standards. LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
Through February, for each window or door you buy, you get one at 50% off. Plus, make no payments for 18 months OAC. For details, visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com today, a name you can trust.
Exciting personal news. I'm driving a brand new Bronco Sport from Wayscar Ford, and my experience getting it was exceptional. I'm joined in studio by Mark, the GM. Now, Mark, I received the exclusive celebrity treatment not available to other customers, right?
I hate to break it to you, Stacy, but we treat everyone that way. Bottom line is no pressure, and I think you felt that when you were there. We want you to find the vehicle you like, and I can guarantee you that our prices are as good as anybody's prices out there. A lot of the prices online include rebates that most people would never qualify for. Ours do not. No games, no gimmicks, no pressure. That's our motto at Wayscar Ford. We've been in Auburn, family-owned and operated for over 103 years now. You don't stay in business 103 years but not taking care of people.
I truly felt like I was the only one, like maybe the entire dealership open that day just because I might be coming in. However, hats off to you and your team at Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Again, in business for over 100 years. See for yourself at Wayscar Ford in Auburn. That's wayscarford.com.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours. Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Four down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
I just had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection on my roof because I wanted to be proactive and handle any small problems before they became big problems, and they were extremely professional with their communication and recommendations. You really need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Allow them to work for you, too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Start the year fresh with Washington Energy's New Year, New Home Sales event. Upgrade and save 15% on energy-efficient Bryant heating systems for your home. Keep cozy and safe this winter storm season with 15% off Honeywell whole home generators. Prepare for spring with 15% off beautiful Anderson windows and reliable Simonton doors. All on sale now for a limited time. It's the New Year, New Home Sales event with Washington Energy Services, bringing good energy to your home.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Join this conversation on the Mac and Jack's text line if you want. What did you learn from the Philadelphia Eagles? Classes in session. 866-979-3776. I like this tweet from Greg Rosenthal. Bump. The most consistent analytical precept in the Howie era, Howie Roseman being the GM of the Eagles, is that linemen on both sides are underpaid, underdrafted, and you can't spend enough resources on them. We will talk about the drafting, the free agent moves, the trades the Eagles have made, what the Seahawks can learn, but it feels like it starts with the trenches.
Yeah, trenches won that game. I know Jalen Hurts got the MVP award. I think he deserved it. But if you look at just a group of men that highlighted that game, that played the best, it's that defensive line. They didn't have any help. They didn't have a linebacker walking in the A-gap trying to confuse your center and your guard and bailing out or blitzing. It was just straight-up football. Like, let's go get it. You bigs up there, let's go eat. So I think that as a group, they probably played the best. Individual, I'm going to lean with the quarterback because he has to make the plays and throws and all that good stuff. But here's what I don't agree with. You said offensive linemen are underpaid and underdrafted.
Greg Rosenthal said that Howie.
This is why he's wrong, because the league determines how much they get paid. The owners, the GMs determine how much they get paid. One GM isn't going to go off the cuff and say, you know what, I'm going to pay him $8 more millions because he's that good. No, he's going to look across the league and say, all right, what's everybody paying these guys?
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. So they hold tremendous value to your team, but they're not underpaid because the league sets the market.
Well, and the Eagles are one of the top payers when it comes to the offensive line, so I'd love for one of their offensive linemen to go, Howie, maybe you should pay me more then.
Yeah,
if you think I'm underpaid, and then see what Howie says. But I think that what this naturally does is allows us to juxtapose John Schneider's sentiments about the offensive line that he said on the John Schneider show. And if I were him, I'd hate hearing this cut over and over. And maybe this year he'll clarify with Wyman and Bob. But we have people mentioning this so often.
It's just the nature of the position. It takes a special breed to play that spot. But no, the guys get overdrafted. at that position, and in my opinion, they get overpaid.
I have heard people mention that so many times. Meanwhile, this is Howie Roseman.
Yeah, I think that's always the goal. O-line, D-line's been something long time here in Philadelphia. And obviously, we had to win that way. So we came back 2 years ago. We couldn't get home. We didn't have any sacks in that Super Bowl. And they beat us. And we came back, and they were able to get pressure. And our offensive line did a phenomenal job. Jalen did a phenomenal job. And we're world champs.
They obviously prioritize spending and drafting in the trenches. Bump, I want to initially, just out of instinct, kind of like, I don't know, be like, well, the Seahawks have tried. However, they haven't been successful. So there is part of you that wonders if there's an analysis issue, if there's a scouting thing, if there's something bigger than just bad luck.
I think the difference between Philly and the Seahawks is that they prioritize offensive linemen, defensive linemen. I don't think over the past decade plus that's been a priority. The priority has been, okay, let's get some edge rushers, which, depending on how you look at it, are defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make sure our receivers are good, and let's draft a bunch of running backs because we know that these guys get banged up. You haven't been in a position to where you can draft high and get yourself a quarterback, but it's about prioritizing. Just because you're not drafting an offensive tackle in the first round doesn't mean that can't be your priority. Like on the offseason, you have to be looking at all free agents and throwing your best deals out there and trying to get these guys to come here, which we don't know. They don't tell us what deals they're trying to make and what didn't go through, but it's never seemed like a priority out here. So hopefully with this year behind them, with evaluating, with Kubiak coming over here and adding his 2 cents with the new offensive line coach, you start prioritizing just the analysis of it too. Again, I don't know what their process is like when it comes to evaluating offensive linemen, but there's some things that we can make assumptions to, right? The evaluation process isn't the greatest, and it's probably not the first thing on their list if we're going off of what Schneider has said in the past. Now, a man can change. I know we play that clip and people bring it up often, and it's fine. You can because he did say that. But I also think that people change. Like, I wasn't the same dude I was a year ago. I've changed some things about myself, and I think maybe John Schneider, with the influence of all these other voices, might have changed the way he looks at that position too.
I will say the John Schneider show returns soon. I believe, Matt Curtis, do you know offhand if it's this week for the John Schneider show?
I believe it does start this week.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see, how soon they dive into conversations about the offensive line. Let's get to some of the pieces. Drafting, the Eagles added in 2020 Jalen Hurts with a day 2 pick, Devonta Smith with a high first-rounder, Landon Dickerson, Jalen Carter 9th overall in 2023. They also added his teammate, Nolan Smith, from that same Georgia class in the first round at 30. Quinion Mitchell adding to that secondary, Cooper DeJean adding to that secondary in 2024. I mean, that is a run of 4 seasons, beginning in 2020 when they didn't use like a high pick on Jalen, but in 2020 they were like 4 wins. So they were at one point low.
Yeah.
They were not in a great place. So over 4 years of drafting, they've added all of that, in addition to signing Saquon Barkley in free agency, trading for A.J. Brown and Darius Slay. These are major moves.
Yeah, they are major moves, and they hit. And their evaluation process for what they want to be offensively and defensively is on point. They clearly have a commitment to that offensive line. You mentioned we got Lane Johnson, you got Mailata over there as well. They got Becton, I think his name is. I'm sorry if I'm jacking your name up, sir. Got him out of, Jacksonville, I believe. They have prioritized that offensive line and have found gems on that defense. Like Cooper DeJean is going to be here for a while. Mitchell's going to be here for a while. And then they sprinkle in some veterans. You bring back Garner Johnson. You got Slay over there as well. Graham got healthy and was able to play in this game. It's not just, okay, let's draft young talent and hope it works out. Yes, you have to draft young talent. You got to develop and hope they work out. But you also got to sprinkle in some veterans over there to get the job done. And they've done exactly that. It's been, if anyone needs a master class on how to build a football team, everyone should be looking at the Philadelphia Eagles at this point. A second-round quarterback just won a Super Bowl. You go and get Saquon Barkley. The Giants got to be sick right now. And you sprinkle in all this young talent who's going to be here in the near future. It's just impressive to watch them do what they do. And they did it. It was a team win, from their kicker to the O-line, D-line, quarterback, wideouts. Your two baller wideouts made a play. Your tight end made a couple of big plays. Saquon just kept you in the fight. It was like he's on the ropes just swinging, saying, look, we're just going to wait for our opening and we're going to knock you out. It was a team win and a well-executed plan by Kellen Moore. I wonder what he's going to look like in New Orleans.
In terms of lessons to be taken from Philly, mine is twofold. Number one, it's okay to go for obvious talent. Like, there are not many names on this list of talent that they added that were like super under the radar, diamond in the rough type moves, right? Jalen Carter was an obvious talent. Saquon Barkley was an obvious talent. They just had to make decisions on to whether or not to take them, whether or not to pay them. So that's the first one. The second is just please focus on the trenches.
Yeah.
Those are the two lessons for me.
And get it right. Like, you got to get it right. You can try. And we give them props for trying every year because they draft offensive linemen.
Sure.
But you got to get it right now.
It sure seems like Geno Smith will be with the Seahawks in 2025. We'll tell you the two things we learned this weekend that make that very clear. Next.
Seattle Endless sports. Hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
I am strangely optimistic. Players get better, and I think that they're doing the best that they can.
So you're happy with you're pleasantly surprised by the offseason?
I'm not happy. I think I lowered my expectations. I'm not being sarcastic about that. I just going into the offseason, I was like, I don't think that they're going to spend any money. I really don't. And
you were
guess
right.
What? I'm not disappointed. I won't say I'm right. I mean, I'll just say that I'm not disappointed.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Our friends at Mazda of Everett always offer you their lowest price. Shop over 800 new Mazdas online at MazdaofEverett.com. Click on Get the Mazda of Everett price for their best deal. Shop MazdaofEverett.com or stop in and meet our friends at Mazda of Everett located in Everett at 11409 Highway 99. If you're shopping for a new car, make sure our friends at Mazda of Everett are on your list. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Has snow or ice damaged your roof? You need help removing the snow off of your flat roof? Well, call the experts at Riverside Roofing, 425-949-8252, or go to riversideroofingllc.com. Riverside Roofing, they are the roofing company you can trust.
Let's talk about your hair. Well, maybe after we talk about my hair. I've got great hair, as you know, and it's because of Advanced Hair. Yep, Advanced Hair Restoration. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results that I can attest to. Guys, it's not magic, but it's close to it. They put hair where you need it most, and bam, it grows. It's actual science. Advanced Hair has top-rated physicians, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins to regrow the very next day. It's even guaranteed to grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now at 425-449-8185. Mention Curly to qualify for $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. It's a limited time offer. Advanced Hair, the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and the team that gave me my hair back. More importantly, they'll do the same for you, Guaranteed. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. The Cyberknife system, with advanced tracking technology and robotic design, keeps the radiation on target even with tumor or patient movement. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. And the treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. But the technology is only half the story. The skilled and dedicated team of providers and caregivers match the technology by providing unparalleled, personalized treatment plans and compassionate care. They are committed to patient-focused care, partnering with the patient and their families. The results speak for themselves. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. When diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
Hi, I'm Tyler, and I want to share my awesome experience we just had with Window Nation. When we bought our home in Edmonds, Washington, we noticed some of the windows needed to be replaced. Our living room was cold and drafty in the winter, and it was hot and stale in the summer. But after a lot of research and a few bids, we chose Window Nation to replace our windows. From the first consultation to the final installation, their team was professional, friendly, and incredibly knowledgeable. Window Nation offered a wide variety of high-quality, energy-efficient windows that not only looked great, but we immediately noticed the difference in the comfort of our home. And the best part was the installation process. The crew arrived on time, worked efficiently, and they left our home spotless. It's the best home improvement project we've ever done.
Call Window Nation today and see the difference. Right now, save 60% on all windows and pay nothing for 2 years. Visit windownation.com or call 866-90-NATION to schedule your free in-home estimate and get 60% off. That's windownation.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It sure seems like Geno Smith will be back with the Seahawks in 2025. 2 things we heard this weekend that tell us that. Let's go ahead and get started. First, Mike McDonald's interview with Fox 13.
Yeah, man. Geno's our quarterback. I don't understand the conversation. It's pretty obvious this guy's a heck of a quarterback. He's our quarterback. We love him. Can't wait to go to work with him. We've had a lot of non-football conversations to keep it legal over the last month or so, and I know he's really excited about Clint taking over. And yeah, I mean, this guy he's a great player, man, and we can win a championship with Geno Smith. We really believe that, and can't wait to get back to work with him.
Thoughts on what Mike had to tell Aaron Levine?
I think it's obvious to people who look at football a certain way that Geno's the quarterback. I think that for the average fan, that's the question I get asked the most. I was in Fred Meyer getting ready for the Super Bowl, and I ran into just a couple random people, and that's the first thing they always ask me. What about Geno? And I give them my 2 cents, and they go, I don't know, man. I think we can get better. I go, you can get better at the position. How are you going to get better at that position, though? So I think that to Mike McDonald, to Kubiak, to people in that facility, of course, Geno, it's obvious to them that Geno's their quarterback. But when people look at the interceptions and the other critiques, they have a different feeling about it. Me personally, I think this is your best scenario, and you're supposed to go after it. Another thing is people don't want to pay Geno what he's going to require. And the market requires that he gets paid around $35 to $40 million a year. And people see that number, and you get antsy a little bit. And let me remind you, if he were to get paid $40,000, that'd be a shame. $40 million a year, he'd be the 16th highest paid quarterback in the game.
Yeah.
The 16th. So I understand people see that number and they think it's such a big hit to the cap. That wouldn't even be 20%. And I think that's been the number for a few years. 20% of your cap shouldn't be paid to a quarterback. You know, people have had their opinions there. But he'd be the 16th highest quarterback in the game. And I think that would be perfect for his situation. To me, it's obvious. Geno has to be the guy. You're in a position where you're not going to draft time. You can't still get a quarterback late and hope you develop. But Geno has showed he can win you some ball games. If you get him behind a line like Philly had on Sunday, I guarantee you his numbers look a bit different. That's not going to happen. The Eagles have done a great job with their eval and their drafting and whatnot to get those guys there. But I think that there are steps that Geno can take if you surround him with some talent.
Tom Pelissero had this to say.
The Seahawks appear to be all in on Geno Smith for 2025 at a time that he is headed into a contract year. Smith is due about $25 million in 2025, which would be obviously at the low end of the veteran quarterback pay scale. Smith actually wanted to raise a year ago, but as a matter of organizational policy, the Seahawks don't renegotiate deals with multiple years left. This time around, I would anticipate they do something with Smith's contract to make sure that he is being compensated in a fair manner while also allowing them to have the flexibility to continue to seek a long-term answer at the position.
I know that there are some people that hear the Seahawks appear to be all in on Geno and get a little nervous, but I don't think the Seahawks are idiots. I think they recognize, like, Geno's going to be 35 years old. All in means, hey, he's our guy this year.
Yeah.
And, we'll see what happens in 2026. It's not a good draft class. You don't have a high enough pick to get a quarterback that you are ready to hand the reins to. I do think, as do you, that they should continue to invest in quarterback in the draft, use a pick, every couple years on one instead of, like, never selecting one ever. I just don't know that guy is readily available for you right now, and the Seahawks clearly don't feel he is.
Yeah, we don't know. We'll see if there's a Jalen Hurts second-round pick out there who's going to develop and become a Super Bowl winning champion. But you and I have said here for a lot of time and talked about how just difficult it is to find that guy late in the draft. You typically get those first-round guys who win these Super Bowls. All in because of the situation that they are in. If they were a horrible team, if they had a top 5 pick, a top 6 pick, then it might look a bit different. Then Mike McDonald would be looking at that draft saying, Geno's our guy right now, but what we're going to pay him is going to reflect what we can do in this draft as well. And he's got to be able to accept that. But because of the situation they're in with the 18th pick, you're looking at Geno, and he looks better. You've had a few drinks. Geno looks good right now. I understand the concerns, but people expect organizations just to magically make things happen. There are negotiations that have to go down. You have to look at who is available out there. What does your offensive coordinator want? What are you willing to pay? What are you willing to risk? I think Mike McDonald is comfortable with Geno Smith because he knows who he is, and he thinks he knows what he is capable of doing. And I'm hoping he thinks that he is going to help him take the next step by reinforcing this offensive line. So Geno's the guy. He's going to be the guy for, I think, at least 2 more years. They're going to sign an extension. I think it's going to be a 2-year deal and have some guaranteed money up front so he feels secure. But they're never going to stop looking for the next quarterback.
Well, and they shouldn't. But I think that what some people might be disheartened by with this is there are some fans who feel like if you do enough around Geno, there's no reason you can't look at the Seahawks to be Super Bowl contenders in 2025. And I frankly don't right now. I want to see them add more pieces. You never know where a season's going to go. There have been quick turnarounds. Look what the Commanders did this past year, what the Vikings did this past year. Obviously, neither played in a Super Bowl, but both found some serious answers when it comes to how to win. I think that there is a good portion of people that look at Geno and go, okay, but he doesn't look or play necessarily like a guy that I think is going to win a Super Bowl with this team. And so that feels disheartening for people.
Yeah, it does. And you look at the quarterbacks who played in the Super Bowl, and Jalen Hurts isn't required to do much, but you know that when it's all said and done, he can take off and run the football and pick up yards, had 10-plus touchdowns on the ground this year. Obviously, you look at Pat Mahomes, and even though he didn't have his greatest performance, you know what he is capable of. It's when you start comparing your situation to other situations at quarterback, I think you lose sight of the bigger picture. Right? You're not the most talented at the quarterback spot. So what can you do to help your ball club is support with talent. If you're going to ask, I don't think anyone would ask Jalen Hurts to go out there and toss a ball 40 times a game and expect him to win the ball game. Jalen Hurts is in the perfect situation for who he is and what he's capable of doing. Can he get better? Yes, he's only 26 years old. Of course he can get better. But coming out of college, even though he did throw a bunch of touchdowns at Oklahoma, no one really looked at him as, okay, he's going to be the guy to sit back and pick you apart. No, Jalen Hurts is a perfect example of creating a team and building a complete team to where no one person has all of the pressure on them. Saquon Barkley might have had the greatest complete season from week 1 to the Super Bowl that we've ever seen from the running back position, and that's just because he's talented. But I don't think the Philadelphia went in every single week and said, well, if he can't go off, we're not going to win this ball game. No, they're saying we're going to start with him because he's our most talented player. But we got a tight end who can block, who can catch. We got 2 receivers who can catch that rock and do their thing. We also have a quarterback who's capable, when you need him to do it, throw the football and hold the defense accountable with his legs. So there are different ways to build this thing. I prefer the Philly way. I wouldn't mind the Chiefs' way either, though.
We have gone an hour into the show without at all mentioning the Super Bowl halftime show, the best commercials from the night, nor the latest news on the Mariners. That's coming up in the timeline at 11:30. Before we get to it, plays of the game from Super Bowl 59 coming your way next.
The Hot Stove Show, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m.
Have I ever told you how much I enjoy doing the Hot Stove Show?
Every day.
This is truly one of the best ways that we have to get to know some of these guys. Long-form conversation. You don't have the pressures of the season. You're not in the clubhouse, right? There's not a hitters meeting or a pitchers meeting to go to. I think we get some of our very best stuff from all these guys, players and coaches, front office members, right here each and every week during the winter.
Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason. The Hot Stove Show, every Tuesday leading up to spring training.
Does your yard need shade, privacy, or a little brightening up? Look no further than Big Trees. I'm Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. At our 30-acre location, there are thousands of trees to choose from and knowledgeable staff, including a board-certified master arborist, to help you find exactly what you're looking for. Visit the nursery and learn more about Big Trees at bigtreesupply.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at PCFgroup.com, PCFgroup.com.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Do you need a new roof? Don't wait for summer to replace it. 3 Tree Roofing is here to help you save big this winter. Avoid summer's higher prices and longer wait times and protect your home's integrity now. Visit 3treeroofing.com for your free on-site estimate. Our certified installers make it easy and worry-free, no matter the season. Don't wait. Book your estimate today at 3treeroofing.com. Mention this ad and get $500 off your roof replacement. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, don't neglect maintenance on your vehicle. Keep it safe. At Bucky's Complete Auto, we have you covered with available financing. For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. There's a Bucky's just about everywhere for oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Bucky's.com for the location near you.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
This is Seattle Sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
A year after an entire summer was spent speculating about a Brandon Ayuk trade, another 49ers receiver is asking his way out. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported Sunday Deebo Samuel requested a trade during his exit meeting following the 2024 season. The Mariners announced this morning Ichiro Suzuki will throw out the ceremonial first pitch for opening day. Suzuki was a near unanimous addition to the Baseball Hall of Fame last month.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. You know, it ended up being mostly Eagles highlights, but that's okay. Still a lot of fun to be had here. So let's go over the plays of the game from Super Bowl 59. We're going to get started. Facing 4th and 2 on the opening drive of the game, Jalen Hurts appeared to find an open A.J. Brown downfield for 32 yards. It would have put the Eagles well into field goal range, more importantly, giving them a great shot from 18 yards out to get on the board first. But the refs wasted no time getting laundry on the field.
Hurts from the gun. Back to pass, going deep. Far sideline. Caught! A.J. Brown. There's a penalty too, but Brown with a big play over McDuffie. And let's see if it holds.
Pass interference. Offense.
Fans of every other team in the NFL lost their dang minds on this call. I can promise you that, Bump.
I got text. People text me, here we go. They fix his hand, here we go. I'm like, listen. What happened, I wouldn't have thrown the flag, but I also understand why the refs did throw the flag. There's typical like hand-to-hand kind of fighting that happens when the football's in the air like that. It's just unfortunate that A.J. Brown's hand grazed McDuffie's face mask, which caused him to fall down. If he didn't fall, I think the ref lets that go, but because he fell down, he almost has to throw that flag there. I wouldn't have thrown the flag. I'm not a referee, but I understand why people were hitting me up talking about, it's in, Bump, it's about to go down. So, and the same referee that made that call was the one who's in the meme where him and Pat Mahomes are exchanging jerseys.
Ooh.
It's the same referee. So I got sent that meme a couple times.
Yeah, I'm sure. It was ticky-tacky. There's another ticky-tacky call we're going to get to. I didn't like either of them, but at least they cancel each other out, both going for either team. Let's go ahead and get to our next play, though. Jalen Hurts throws incomplete. This is Philly's second possession. Throws incomplete to Dallas Goedert on 3rd and 5. The Eagles' second drive, but the flags come out again. This time it's on KC.
3rd and 5. Late pressure. Picked up. Hurts slings it high. Incomplete. And Goddard took a shot. And there's a penalty. Trent McDuffie was there on the hit, and that one may have been upstairs to the head.
Good spot. Automatic first down.
I don't like that one either.
First 3 drives of the game. 2 for the Eagles, 1 for Kansas City. 2 of those have flags in pivotal moments, and both were ticky-tacky.
Yeah, it's a big 3rd down. Ref's defense, I know why he called it. There was helmet to helmet, but McDuffie is shorter than Goddard's going up for the football. McDuffie's trying to make a play through the man. There's going to be some helmet-to-helmet contact. It's almost impossible in that situation unless McDuffie, like Dave Wyman says, lives in the matrix and can slow himself down and not make that play. It's unfortunate, man, because that was a big 3rd and 5. You felt like if Casey got off the football right there or got off the field right there, they're feeling good about themselves. I understand why the ref called it. You look at the rule, you got to call that, but you got to use common sense sometimes and say, look, he didn't lower his head. He wasn't going after his chin. He was going up for the football. There was contact. Helmets happened to hit.
I'm so happy that the Eagles won by as much as they did, not because I'm an Eagles fan or I have any personal rooting interest, but because it allowed the story of the game to not be one about the refs. And I certainly wondered if that would be the case. They kind of swallowed their whistles as the game went on, and you saw
it was
fewer
pretty
calls.
It was like 7 penalties to 8 or something like that.
It ended up not being something that I heard anyone talking about afterward, and it certainly didn't feel like that earlier in the first quarter. Let's get to the rest of this Eagles drive. So they keep it moving after that penalty. It sure looked like this was the first touchdown of the game. Jalen Hurts finds Jahan Dotson.
Blitz coming. It's picked up. Hurts going deep. Has a man. It is caught. Dotson down there. He's in. Touchdown, Philadelphia.
So again, this was ultimately ruled down at the 1. So instead, the Eagles take over here, run it in from the 1 with a tush-push touchdown. And, of course, the Super Bowl wouldn't be complete without some tush-push narrative heading into this one.
Yeah, we knew once the ball was on a 1 what was going to go down. And I think Dotson made a great play. That was a big pickup from them. He was with the Commanders, I believe, drafted by the Commanders. But what a lot of people missed on this is Barkley picking up the blitz. I mean, he put his shoulder into a man's chest and dang near set him down and allowed Jalen Hurts to toss that thing up there. Good connection there. Good blitz pickup by Saquon Barkley.
I inevitably ended up I was watching the game with Derek, and we ended up having a conversation that I'm sure many people, families, couples, friends across the country were having here, which is, well, isn't this football? Like, this just looks like classic football. And every time I hear people talk about any kind of unfair advantage from the tush push or how it's some kind of loophole or something people want out of the game, I just think this is how the game was played in like 1950. What are you talking about? Then get bigger guys, get stronger guys.
Yeah, I mean, any offense should be able to pick up 1 yard, whether it's a tush push or something else. It's advantage offense. They just do this better than anyone else. And the foundation we thought was Kelsey. No, the foundation is Hurts and the push that he gets. I read an article this weekend that said that tush push might be the last one in NFL history. I hope it isn't.
Why that one?
I don't, because it's the Super Bowl. It's the last game of the year. So I hope that ain't it. Leave the tush push in the game, please.
All right, second quarter begins, and Bump, this is going to lend itself naturally to a conversation about KC's defense. I think people were looking at the Chiefs and going, oh, what kind of game was this? You were awful. The Eagles dominated you. And while that was true, KC's defense gave that offense so many chances, and this is one of them.
Chiefs come with a blitz. Hurts sees it. Back foot throw going for A.J. Brown. Intercepted by Cook. Brian Cook read it. It was underthrown. He's got the turnover.
Chiefs defender Brian Cook intercepts Jalen Hurts, gives the ball back to Kansas City. We don't have the highlight, obviously, because that ended up being a 3-and-out.
Yeah, that was just a miscommunication on the offensive line. He had your inside linebacker walk up to the line of scrimmage. I think the center was sliding the protection to the left because he saw a man rushing on the edge.
Yeah.
That man on the edge ends up dropping, and the middle linebacker ends up going to the quarterback. You see the center look to his left and then try to get back to the blitzer. Hurts thought he was picked up. If he wouldn't have stood in there like that the way he did if he didn't think that his line was going to pick that guy up.
You know what's wild is I didn't feel a shift in momentum per se when this happened. Like when Patrick Mahomes will get to the pick 6, which is actually our next highlight, obviously a lost fumble later in the game. In either of those, I was like, complete shift. Like this feels like a groundswell. I don't know if it's because it felt like there were more Eagles fans there. I have no idea what it was, but this certainly didn't feel as damaging, even early for the Eagles. Now let's get to that pick 6. Cooper DeJean on his birthday, 22 years old.
3rd and 16. Mahomes rolling out. Looking, firing, intercepted. Picked up by Cooper DeJean. Gets a block. DeJean is in. Touchdown.
Important to note with this drive, before you tell us what you saw on this play, I forgot to lead in with it, that Patrick Mahomes was just being completely swallowed up even leading into this. He was sacked on the previous 2 plays, so they're actually facing 3rd and 16 at this point.
Yeah, and it was great job by DeJean. I believe he had hook to curl in that play right there, and he's just reading Pat Mahomes' eyes. Pat Mahomes is running to his right, DeJean's left. And at the last second, he feels what Pat Mahomes is doing. He puts his left foot in the ground and just reads his eyes, attacks the football, and the rest is him, man. First interception of his career is to the house for a touchdown in the Super Bowl on his birthday.
Yeah.
You can't write that up.
Were we not talking enough about the Eagles defense? I know obviously you did as part of our very in-depth preview on Friday, but they ended up being such a monumental story. Like, the story of this one was that defense.
Yeah, I highlighted Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter and then Cooper DeJean and how he was going to handle the tight end over there. I mentioned Sweat. I mentioned Bond, but I didn't give them the love that they should have gotten because collectively, those guys on defense made it tough for the Chiefs.
All right, we'll get to another Mahomes pick here, deep in KC territory.
Here's Mahomes. Four-man rush over the middle, and it's intercepted again! This time it's Zach Bond, and the Eagles are set up inside the 10.
Zach Bond, one of the most underrated players on that defense as well. I'll say this about Patrick Mahomes. Absolutely nothing in this game changed my overall opinion on his play. I know there were some people that were like eager to see him struggle, eager to see him look very, very human. If you came away from this game thinking, Patrick Mahomes has been a farce. This is just an NFL narrative, then I don't know what to tell you.
He just faced a better team. And big ups for Bond. He was a backup for New Orleans last year.
Yeah,
now he's a
story.
starter in the NFL, just made himself a bag right there. And same thing, you drop into zone coverage, you're looking at the quarterback. Big ups to that defensive line. You hit Pat Mahomes in his left leg. That ball gets away from him a little bit. And then Bond just shows the great hands, man. These are the stories that I love because he was a backup for the Saints. He's a starter in the NFL or in the Super Bowl and just made a huge play.
I'll tell you what the Eagles loved about that pick from Zach Bond is that it gave them the ball 1st and 10 from KC's 14-yard line. So Jalen Hurts picks up 2 with his legs. KC takes a timeout with 1:40 remaining. We're in the first half here still, and then Jalen Hurts finds A.J. Brown.
Hurts lets it go, complete A.J. Brown. He's in! Touchdown, Eagles!
They're friends again.
Hey, because there was some drama on the sideline before that. Like, you're up 24-0 or something like that at the time.
Mad?
Like, stop tripping, bro. You should be okay. But just a mesh concept. You caught the Chiefs in man.
Yeah.
You got A.J. Brown starting from the right side. He runs as shallow from 5 to 6 yards. Jalen Hurts does a good job with his eyes, holding everybody to the right side. Last second, sees A.J. A.J. gets the football, turn up, easy touchdown.
Did you think that I'll just stay on the point of drama before we get to our next and last play, which is kind of like the dagger for this game. But did you get the feeling in watching this, remembering some of the drama we heard about the Seahawks Super Bowl team? Because I watched this, a little bit of drama on the sideline with A.J. Brown, and then everything's fine. I'm thinking back to the rumors that we were talking about during the show of tension between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts that they later had to settle, and I was just thinking, there probably is so much more drama behind the scenes with Super Bowl teams than we ever realize.
There's drama. I wouldn't call it drama. I would just call it typical conflict.
Yeah, tension,
right?
conflict, issues.
There are things that happen throughout the course of an NFL season, especially when you have an elite team. When a team thinks that they should be Super Bowl champions, and you have high expectations of yourself and the team, guys are holding each other accountable, and guys want to contribute. That's the thing that I'll never take away from A.J. Brown. Yes, it doesn't look good at times, him on the sideline throwing his fits, but he just wants to contribute. He wants to contribute, and that's a great trait. Now he just got to learn how to hone it in a little bit.
All right, next and last highlight here. We all thought, including the announcers and the broadcast team, that the Eagles would just run it out once they got this far ahead. 1st and 10. They don't.
The lower leg area, and Maddox comes in and makes a huge play. Now the Eagles get it back. We're going to run some clock, or maybe throw the dagger. Hurts going deep for it all. Devontae Smith! He has got it! Touchdown!
Love, though. We're going to run some clock. No, we're not. It's a 46-yard touchdown on the first play.
Now, go ahead and take a shot right there. I love the decision. You felt like you knew the box was going to be loaded. The Chiefs did exactly that. You got 1-on-1 on the outside and Devontae Smith. This is what I'm talking about. This is where Jalen Hurts and his skill comes in. He can toss the football. For some reason, people ignore that. This was a great play. And the dagger, man, going into halftime, Mahomes, 5 of 11, 24 yards, 2 interceptions. Not a great day. I believe his QBR rating was like 1 or something like that.
Oh, jeez. Nick Sirianni, head coach of the Eagles, after the game had this to say.
It takes, it takes selflessness. It takes A.J. Brown knowing that and Devontae Smith knowing they can go for 100 each game, but we have Saquon that's going for it. So you take selflessness. And that's what the excitement is when you make a play. The selflessness, the not wanting. These guys love each other. Love is the key to this team. They don't want to let each other down. They'll fight for each other. They'll play hurt for each other, and that's awesome. That's the best part about being on the team, and it took everybody.
All right, we'll just tone down the music a little bit here for just 2 quick minutes of discussion about these highlights about this game before we get to 4 down territory. I think that one thing that is clear from all of these highlights is you heard a very complete performance. You heard a pick 6. You heard another interception. You heard a big touchdown. You heard, we didn't have the tush push, but you heard the play that got them to the 1-yard line. This was a very complete game, a very complete team.
Yeah, it was. And don't forget the kicker, too, Elliott. Elliott contributed to the group project. He was 4 for 4 along a 50. I mean, he did his thing as well. And the Chiefs, I know we look at the score and we're saying, man, this Philly offense just tore them apart. And they did. But the Chiefs did a good job with Saquon Barkley. I was looking at his numbers in the playoffs and the type of runs that he had, right? In the division, he had a 60-plus yard touchdown and a 70-yard touchdown. Both of those runs were outside. In the wild card, he had a 20-yard touchdown, two 20-yard runs. Both were outside. In the NFC Championship game, he had a 60, a 20, both outside, and 2 touchdowns that game. If you look at the Chiefs, they did such a great job of just containing him, man. And I'll touch on it more on 4 down territory. But the Philadelphia Eagles were just the more balanced team.
Yeah.
You look at the Chiefs, and they had no run game. Pacheco couldn't get it going. Kareem Hunt couldn't get it going. You have your tight end. This is the first time I looked at Travis Kelce, and I watched him, and he looked old. Like, he looked slow. He looked old. He looked tired. I mean, you got 3 games you played in the playoffs, and even with the 2 weeks rest, his body just wasn't moving the same. He didn't look the same. The energy wasn't the same. And I can say the same thing for Pat Mahomes. But no, this Philly offense has showed whatever game needs to be played, we are more than capable of playing that game.
I want to add one final note, too. I've seen a number of people making comparisons between this Super Bowl and Super Bowl 48. This is not the only one I got, but from the 206, a few of my Denver buddies were commenting on the similarity between yesterday's game and the Seahawks dominance of Denver in the first Super Bowl, and how pedestrian Peyton Manning looked trying to deal with a really outstanding defense. So I do have 2 things to say about this, and they almost made me more appreciative of Pat Mahomes, and I know that's really annoying, but I had a listener during Bold Take say that they thought this would be a total blowout because it would be the same thing with Super Bowl 48. And I literally was like, okay. So credit to that listener. But the reason I said that is that Peyton Manning and that Denver Broncos offense had so many weapons. Like he had 2 receivers with over 1,000 yards. DT had 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns. And Eric Decker had 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns. So yes, there was this feeling of an unstoppable force meets the best defense they faced all season long. But this is not the Denver Broncos offense. The Denver Broncos offense in that 2013 season was phenomenal, unstoppable, putting up ungodly numbers. And it was really, really, really cool when the Seahawks defense shut them down. The Chiefs offense is not that. One of the only areas where they were exceptional was on 3rd down conversions. That's not a sexy stat.
Nah, they didn't have the talent that these guys had.
No.
I know you look at D-Hop, and big ups D-Hop. I feel bad that he didn't get his Super Bowl, but he's not who he was. Travis Kelce, I'm telling you, for the first time, my man looked old. I isolated him a few times. I watched all 22 this morning, and he just looked old. And then that offensive line, you had to move guys around. You got Tooney in an uncomfortable position. It's not his natural position. It just showed up, man. You had youth and talent on the other side, and you had a team in the Chiefs that did enough to get by. But they came up against the most complete team in the game right now.
Yes, yeah, I understand the reason for the comparison. I really like the conversation. I think it's an awesome conversation. I'm glad this texter in the texter on Friday brought it up. I just think it in hindsight makes me more appreciative of what the Seahawks defense did. And then in present day makes me realize the weapons that Kansas City's offense lacks. Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, why do you believe Jalen Hurts when he says they aren't finished, insinuating there would be multiple Super Bowl runs?
Because they're young, and this front office knows how to replenish. You got Carter, who's 24. He signed until 2028. DeJean, who obviously had a pick 6. He's 22, signed to 28. You got Ringo, 23. He signed to 27. You got Mitchell. He's 24, signed to 29. You got Smith. He's 24, signed to 27. Go to that offensive line. You got Dickerson signed to 29. Juergen signed to 26. Johnson signed to 27. Mailata signed to 27 as well. Let's not forget the ballers. A.J. Brown is signed to 30. Smith is signed to 29. Barkley signed to 27. Hurts is 26. He's signed to 29. Not saying that they're guaranteed to make the Super Bowl. I looked at Vegas. They're already the betting favorites to win the Super Bowl next year. Lots of things need to happen, but they are set up. The key when it comes to being a good team every single year are just getting those role players to kind of fill in these gaps. And if we've learned anything from Philly, is that they can do exactly that. Not only will they go out and acquire that big talent, they will draft well and they will pick up role players to fill in the gaps. Bond alone, linebacker Bond, being the person that he is for this football team, is a perfect example of them evaluating a backup in New Orleans and saying, you're good enough to play for us in our system. So they should be set up for the next couple of years.
Second down. What did the Chiefs defense do to minimize Saquon Barkley's effect on the run game, and how did the Eagles counter that?
They did such a good job, man. Everyone knew going into this game, you got to stop Saquon Barkley, make Jalen Hurts throw the football. They did exactly that. They played a lot of 3 safeties look, so they still had a 2-high look, but they brought in another safety and got him inside the box because you needed another tackler. Then I started talking to you about how Saquon Barkley, his biggest runs were outside. If you were listening to the game, Tom Brady and them call the game, they mentioned how the outside runs are Saquon's favorite runs. He can press the outside and find a gap and kind of go. And what the Chiefs did a great job of out-leveraging those offensive linemen. When you try to get that toss, you try to get that outside zone, they were there. And then you have those safeties that I talk about fill in those alleys. And then the backside integrity was great. Typically, when you're doing those outside runs, you leave a defender unblocked. And sometimes they get caught in the mix and they start chasing, right? Start chasing down the line, then you're able to pop one back outside. They did not do that. So what did Philly do to counter that? They said, okay, we're going to throw the football. And also what we're going to do is we're going to motion Saquon outside to really open up these pass lanes for you. So Saquon was starting the backfield. You swing him on the outside or to the outside before the ball is snapped. Then defenders have to spread out and open up. It provides or shows this great passing lanes for these guys. And then it's the good throws. The back shoulder to AJ, up top to Devontae Smith, Goddard going across the middle, him being patient, and Jalen Hurts just taking the flat. Even though you're only going to get 3 to 4 yards, so what? That's just as good as a run. So what they did was they opened the game up. They made these guys move east to west, open up these passing lanes, and Jalen Hurts did the rest.
Third down. What did we witness on Sunday?
I think we just witnessed like the making of like a blue-collar superhero in Jalen Hurts. Like, you look at his story. I had to look up his high school stats. He only threw like 18 touchdowns his best year in high school. Then you go over to Alabama. You get the starting job. You're having kind of like a Heisman type season. You get benched in the national championship and you still smile. You still say you're happy for your squad, but you know you're out of there. Then you go to Oklahoma and you throw 32 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. You're drafted in the second round and you're patient. You wait for your turn. You get your first opportunity in the Super Bowl. It doesn't happen. You get your bag. Then the next year you come back, you turn the football over, 18 times, 19 turnovers, and now you're doubted. Then you come back and the front office does a great job of surrounding the right talent around you, and you just do your job. And he does it in a way that is so professional. I know a lot of people ask more of Jalen Hurts when it comes to him just giving you takes.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get it. Even in a win, he stayed in character mode. He was the guy he's been from week 1 to now. But I think we just saw like the birth of the people's champion, because he's not going to wow you with the numbers that the elite are going to, but he's going to do some things. He's going to run the football. He's going to take care of the rock. At least this year he did. And he's going to be fun to watch. So I think this is the blue-collar superhero.
You're right, though. There is something about, it's not that Jalen Hurts isn't exceptionally talented, but there is something about seeing someone that feels more attainable as a club. You know what I mean? Like, if the Chiefs would have won, putting up a worse game, performance-wise than the Eagles did, which is how they won last time. Last time, Jalen Hurts had a phenomenal game, scored 20 points. Exactly. Yep. You would have left going, okay, well, yeah, you get Patrick Mahomes, I guess. Good luck. Like, what a boring takeaway to have about a game. It's much more fun when you can go, well, let's see what you can find on day 2.
Yep.
Fourth down. What new rule, though not likely, could have had a huge impact on the game?
When you're down, or they're down 34-0 at one point, you want to onside that kick so much. You want to onside it. I'm watching the game. I'm like, man, this was last year. They are on-siding that thing. I don't care if it's the second quarter, third quarter, they're going to do it, but they have to wait until obviously the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Now, it's a 6% chance that they're going to recover that onside, but I know that if that rule was not in place, they definitely would have put that thing on the ground, hoped it popped up, and you try to do it because Philly did a good job when it comes to taking care of the football, man. They the time of possession was crazy for Philly at one point. Just dominating that. And the onside kick was like your only chance because you knew that they were going to take 3 to 5 minutes off the clock every time Philly got the football. So I laughed to myself. I wish they still had that onside kick right now.
I really am having flashbacks to you and Curtis when I talked about that rule in NFL headlines going, let them play.
Let them play.
And the joke was, like, how often are people doing onside kicks? The answer is we could have seen them far earlier.
We could have seen them. Now, I don't think they recover 6% chance, like I said, but it gives them an opportunity.
There was a little part of me, I will say the Eagles didn't score on their first drive, obviously, with that OPI on A.J. Brown, but there was a part of me that just felt like, what's wrong with the Chiefs early in this game? And I would have been curious because I still, given that they've just miraculously had wins, I still wondered, like, what are they going to do? And it probably took to that third quarter before it was 34-0 where I went, wow, okay.
Rap City. My son fell asleep.
Real.
He fell asleep.
Man, absolutely insane. All right. Still to come, what became clear about the Chiefs on Super Bowl Sunday? We have had so many Eagles takeaways, rightfully so. They won the game. We got to talk about what the Seahawks can learn, but the rest of the NFL world learned about Kansas City, a little bit more about Kansas City, too. That's coming up at 11:45. Before we get to that, we haven't talked about the halftime show. We haven't talked about commercials. Plus, we have Mariners news. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Truly, I don't think I'd ever seen Mahomes shook. There was a large contingent that's in Geno's camp that says, see what life is like for Geno Smith? This guy's had to deal with more of it and the suddenness of it and how quickly it's on Geno Smith and how quickly he gets sped up because that four-man rush affects him, and much like it did Russell at the end of his career in Seattle. See, no matter how talented you are, if a four-man rush gets home before you can plant your feet, sure, kind of hard to play quarterback.
We know that. Everybody knows that. On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
At 65 years old, Brian has a rather demanding hobby.
My biggest passion is snow skiing, and I ski between 70 and 80 days per year. And I ski instruct at a private resort in Montana.
Needless to say, that can be a bit tough on the joints.
When this knee started to bother me, I thought I'm doomed.
That's when Brian decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
If I did yard work or skied a few days in a row, I was fighting swelling and pain and no sleep and all sorts of problems, and that has absolutely gone away.
So are you back on the slopes?
I mean, I had a 14-day stretch with clients where I skied every day and I had no problem. It was fine. It was just like, I felt like new.
So I'm guessing you would recommend this to others.
Oh, I already have. I've told everyone that'll listen.
Whether it's a shoulder, hip, or knee, before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
It's really, truly a miracle.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's Business Solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 206-529-1111 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, Bill! Got a leak? Need heat? Call Southwest today.
Southwest Plumbing, the one to call.
I just had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection on my roof because I wanted to be proactive and handle any small problems before they became big problems, and they were extremely professional with their communication and recommendations. You really need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Allow them to work for you, too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
The most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, going over the top stories you're going to hear about on your own timeline. Of course, we're going to go straight to the halftime show and the commercials. We haven't talked about either from Super Bowl 59. Curious as to your guys' thoughts about either of those. 866-979-3776. We'll start with Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance featuring guests SZA. It's SZA, right?
Yeah.
I've been saying her name that way for years.
SZA.
Okay, but I never said it publicly, and then I was like, what if I'm dumb? Samuel L. Jackson and Serena Williams.
It was, I gave it a 7.58. You know, I thought I was feeling it. My main thing was I was like, look, you got to play Not Like Us. I know you're going to get sued if you do this song. But he did it right. And no, I thought it was cool, man. I think that some people's knocks going to be like, I couldn't understand what he was saying. Like, yeah, that happens a lot of times at concerts, not just Kendrick Lamar.
Over multiple genres.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. But you felt the energy. I thought the visuals were good. Like seeing Serena out there, walking, throwing shots at Drake. And then everyone knows the meme that's going around now when Kendrick, say Drake.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
That
His turn towards the camera, whoever, they obviously all coordinated together, but the idea of doing that kind of carousel, like you're spinning around and he's looking at the camera, I have never seen such a smug look in my entire life. And there were some people critiquing it saying, well, it's really a shame because in this massive moment, Kendrick's making it about Drake. And it's like, not really. He had a ton of other, hits that he was playing.
That's the hottest song he got.
And it's a great song. And it's clearly something like Kendrick clearly cared enough about insulting this person and creating this diss track. Who cares? It's a bop. I'll listen to it every single time. I thought it was an entertaining halftime show. It was really fun. I think it's always really hard to sound great live, most especially, I mean, really for anyone, but like, I think for rappers and for sometimes like pop singers with slightly weaker voices, it's hard to to sound great live in that kind of venue, even though it's a dome, just in that kind of venue. And I thought it sounded great. There were some people complaining about audio issues, but I didn't experience that.
No, I thought it was cool. I don't think it was like the best one I've ever seen, but I thought it was cool. I liked the LA one better. I think Rihanna was dope. Back in the day, Whitney Houston was fire. Michael Jackson, Justin Timberlake when he got everybody in trouble, and then the Super Bowl went soft at halftime. Yeah, I thought it was cool though. I was vibing. I was feeling it.
What did you make? So, Stephen A. Smith? Someone had a joke about how Serena Williams sea-walking and making an appearance in this one, like she shouldn't be worried about Drake, and like she shouldn't be focused on trying to insult him and add on or whatever. I don't know, man. Drake insulted her husband publicly in a song, so I feel like it's completely fair for her to want to get back.
Serena's from Compton.
Yeah.
That's where Kendrick is from as well.
Come on
Serena
now.
is part of the culture. So yeah, she was taking shots at her at the ex and him talking about her husband, but she's also Cali to the fullest.
Yeah, someone said hearing the entire crowd scream A minor is next level diabolical.
For real.
And the Grammys, that happened too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to the best commercials of the night. How about you? Any stand out to you? It wasn't like a great.
It wasn't great. One that had me and the kids rolling was the Reese's commercial when they're talking about lava. So there's chocolate lava in the peanut butter cups now. So people were going to volcanoes like trying to get a scoop of the lava because they thought it was chocolate. And there's one guy standing there with his mouth open trying to catch lava in his mouth, and some dude tackles him and moves him out the way. Then there's a lady on her little motorized little cart trying to roll into the lava. That was the one that had me and the kids laughing a little bit.
I wasn't necessarily laughing at this one, but how is it not until the year of our Lord 2025 before we made Seal a seal? Like, what? You're telling me that was never pitched.
It was a natural fit.
That was never pitched in any other meeting at any other time that they were like, what if Seal, hear me out, is a seal singing? Like, no one, I don't believe that was just something randomly pitched this time for the first time.
No.
This has been in the works for decades.
Maybe
surely.
he's just finally comfortable with like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
This is the 5th time you've asked me to do this. Let me get this checked.
One commercial that it was funny in hindsight, but it was kind of jarring when I first watched it, was the Pringles one where Andy Reid doesn't have his mustache and James Harden doesn't have his mustache. I've never seen either of them without a mustache, so that was shocking to say the least.
I saw someone text this in and absolutely agree. The first commercial of the night, or one of the first commercials of the night, the Lilo and Stitch one, I saw a girl tweet, "My mom asked me if this was really happening." And I laughed out loud because I just knew my mom was thinking it. I didn't hear her ask me that, but I just knew that somewhere everyone's parents were going, is this really happening?
That was a big hit with the Rogers girls. The Stitch running around the field.
I also like the I think it was Nike where they had not all, but just some female athletes, Asia, Sabrina.
Yes.
And they're talking about you can't be loud, so be loud. You can't be aggressive, so be aggressive. I'm sitting there watching it. I was feeling that one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
hit.
I think narrated by Doechii, who just won a Grammy. So congratulations to her, and obviously amazing women selected for that one. That was a good one, too. All right, let's get to some Mariners news. The Mariners TV broadcast team for 2025 is reportedly being finalized from Seattle Times' Adam Jude. Dave Sims, obviously now with the Yankees, and Mike Blowers are out. Angie Mentink is in, along with Jay Buhner, Dave Val, Ryan Roland Smith, Aaron Goldsmith, assuming TV play-by-play full-time. Congratulations, Goldie.
Yeah, I like the
Angie.
lineup. Yeah, big ups to Angie. Angie did a few games last year. Ryan Rowland got into the mix as well. We all know Goldie is the man, and Buhner, of course, naturally. No, I think it's a good lineup, and good luck to Sims over there on the East Coast, man. It's going to be different not hearing his voice out there, but I think that this is a really good lineup.
Someone said Peyton with the mower. Did I miss? I might have missed that one.
I think I missed that one.
Because I usually think Peyton Manning does great commercials. He's very marketable, very funny. Now I'm upset. I need to go find it. Next up, former Mavs owner Mark Cuban alluded to the Luka Doncic trade in a panel discussion with Bill Gates over the weekend.
And so I wanted to start off with a question, because you've been in, unique situations, and maybe you can help. If after you left Microsoft, you found out that Steve Ballmer traded Windows 11, like the new hot operating system, for Windows 10, the Hall of Fame, but older upgrade. What would you do?
I might have to hide from the press.
I know a couple other people that are in that situation.
Fair answer by Bill Gates. I might have to hide from the press.
Could you imagine what Mark Cuban was going through watching this go down? He brought Luka over to the Mavs. It's almost like he set it all up and gave the keys to someone else and said, all right, just don't mess up the car. Just don't mess this up. And now we got news that AD is going through some stuff as well. Now, all bad, man. It's the timing of this thing is ridiculous for a Mavs fan, and I feel for you, Dallas. That Dallas team.
Yeah.
Not the Cowboys.
Next up, some great news regarding Seattle basketball legend Nate Robinson. He underwent a successful kidney transplant over the weekend. He'd been seeking a donor since 2021 when he began weekly dialysis treatments, and he posted to Instagram a shout out to his donor who he met, Shane Cleveland. So he said, this man literally saved my life by giving me his kidney. Shane, just want to let you know we are family now and you're stuck with me.
That's what's up, man. I was obviously we're all worried about Nate Robinson, a Seattle legend, in my opinion, man. Maybe like top 2, 3 greatest Seattle athletes of all time. I ran into him a couple of times, man, and didn't even want to ask about it. You know, you kind of want to let people just be in that moment and not to answer the same questions over and over and over again. So when I saw this, made me happy.
Everyone's just texting in their favorite commercials now. The Doritos with the aliens. That one was that was a violent commercial.
It was. I like the Post Malone Peyton Manning block party. That was cool. In the cul-de-sac.
Was that the one with Shane Gillis too?
Yeah.
I like the idea of them just hanging out, shooting Bud Light cans outside of like little air guns or whatever.
Yeah, I like that one.
There were some good ones. I love the Super Bowl, man. I'm sad that the season's officially over. It's just I love having a day entirely dedicated to watching football, and you never feel bad.
No,
you know what I mean? You're like, I have to sit here and watch the commercials for research. I can't. It's for work. I can't go anywhere. We'll talk about what caught my eye. Super Bowl 59 edition coming up at noon. Don't go anywhere.
The Hot Stove Show, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m.
Have I ever told you how much I enjoy doing the Hot Stove Show? Every day. I mean, this is truly one of the best ways that we have to get to know some of these guys. Long-form conversation. You don't have the pressures of the season. You're not in the clubhouse, right? There's not a hitters meeting or a pitchers meeting to go to. I think we get some of our very best stuff from all these guys, players and coaches, front office members, right here each and every week during the winter.
Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason. The Hot Stove Show, every Tuesday leading up to spring training.
Hey, what's up? It's Michael Bumpus for Silver Reef Casino. You know the weather is changing. It's getting cold. Winter is here, but don't let it get you down. It's time for you to make some plans and make some plans with Silver Reef Casino. This past weekend, they had a big watch party. You guys saw the Chiefs go down in Philly, come out victorious. Man, I saw pictures. I'm getting phone calls. There was a raffle, a buffet, swag, and all of that. But most importantly, we saw the Chiefs go down. Big ups to Philly, man. But they got more things coming up this month. They got concerts coming up. They got cover bands, man. So whatever you need for entertainment, Silver Reef Casino has you covered. If you're interested in any of those tickets, get to silverreefcasino.com. That's silverreefcasino.com. And when you're done, don't go anywhere. Check out some of their deluxe rooms with great views of Mount Baker and the Sailor Sea. When you're done doing that, just go downstairs, man. They got amazing on-site dining. They got something for everybody. If you are interested, visit silverreefcasino.com. That's silverreefcasino.com.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
April breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, your crown is disappearing. Hair loss had me feeling like I was losing my identity altogether. Well, I've got some good news. It's a simple one-day treatment that worked for me. The Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. It starts growing new hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly memberships. Those can help retain what you have. But what if you want your own natural hair in specific areas like I did? You decide how much, how thick, and where. From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to the world-class leading doctors like Dr. Perungo, it's not a maybe your hair will grow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 425-449-8185. Advanced Hair is the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and they are the team that I personally recommend. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Choose the right flooring for your home, right in your home, with Floor Coverings International. They bring a mobile showroom to you, loaded with samples of carpet, LVP, hardwood, laminate, tile, and more. So go see them at the Northwest Remodeling Expo at the Seattle Convention Center February 7th through 9th, or at the Seattle Home and Garden Show at Lumen Field February 20th through 23rd. Earn a $250 gift card good on any project when you book a free in-home consultation. Floor Coverings International, the stars of flooring.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Jay Leno, live Wednesday, April 9th at Muckleshoot Event Center. Come laugh it up with one of comedy's living legends. No politics, no lectures, just jokes, and they're all clean. Get your tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com. Jay Leno live Wednesday, April 9th, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Muckleshoot. The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Hey guys, did you know that half of men over age 50 have erectile dysfunction on some level? Whether you have mild, moderate, or severe ED, West Coast Men's Health can help. We don't prescribe pills and hope they work. Instead, we treat the root cause of the problem with acoustic wave therapy, which breaks down plaque, unclogs arteries, and restores blood flow. We have treated thousands of men across our 11 locations nationwide and have established ourselves as a leader in the industry. So whether you have ED, Peyronie's disease, or suffer from chronic pain, such as neuropathy, carpal tunnel, or Dupuytren's contracture, West Coast Men's Health can help. No pills, no shots, no surgery, just results.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call West Coast Men's Health at 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Coming up in 15, we'll talk about what caught our eye from Super Bowl 59. Before we get to it, though, let's talk about the team we've talked about least today. That was the losing team, the Kansas City Chiefs. Bump, what became clear about Kansas City on this Super Bowl Sunday?
Mahomes is human. He's human. So now he's been to, he's won 3, been to 5, I believe. And I think it doesn't change how we think of Pat Mahomes. I think we all assume or know that he is the best quarterback in the game. He's the best. Right now, he's the best in the game. But it changed the way I think you look at him compared to Tom Brady. Because now, Tom Brady went to 10, lost 3, won 7. So he's got room for error. He's got one more he can lose before people start looking at him.
Before you're out of the GOAT conversation.
Before you're out of the GOAT conversation, you got one more you can lose unless you're going to win 8 or 9 and do something crazy like that. But that was the first time Pat Mahomes looked like a human being.
Yeah.
And not like the QB god that he's been for the last 5 or 6 seasons. And it's refreshing because sometimes we just expect things to happen. I think that's why most of us going into this game, we're saying, well, I want Philly to win. I think they can win and should win. But there's something about the Chiefs that makes me believe they're going to be able to get things done in the end. And that's because of Pat Mahomes and that offense over there. But he looked human. And he looked human because that offensive line wasn't as good as the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line.
Yep.
They were younger. They were running stunts. They were aggressive. I saw Tooney get put on his wallet several times. Big Rabels for that. And they were just dominant on that offensive line or defensive line against their offensive line. And that made Pat Mahomes question himself. That was the first time I saw him look hesitant and not look confident. And that's because of that Eagles defense.
I think that I realized what became clear about the Chiefs in this game and how dominant the Eagles were is how many firsts Patrick Mahomes underwent, something that is kind of just bridging off of your point, right? That like, oh, well, we found out like he's very human. I think for me, while I have, it feels like seen the Chiefs in every big primetime game and every Super Bowl and every big playoff game, I don't watch full Chiefs games every single week. And I have not watched every single Chiefs game of Patrick Mahomes' career. So sometimes when I hear stats about like, oh, he's never gone through 3 quarters without scoring, or he's never been sacked 6 times in a game ever, I'm always like, wait, what? You're talking me in that many years? Like, he's 29 now. Like, yes, he's young, but like he's been playing for a minute. That's how dominant Patrick Mahomes and that's how dominant the Chiefs have been, is that while he's lost Super Bowls and lost games and experienced, heartbreaking losses in big moments, he has still led I don't want to say privileged life, but like this from Bill Barnwell, Patrick Mahomes had never been sacked more than 4 times by a 3 or 4 man rush in a single game. Never more than 4 times is wild.
Because he's able to escape. He's able to create and make things happen. And I think a lot of that has to do with, honestly, right, the offensive line and Kelsey's inability to get open. You guys have a chance to watch the All-22. He's just not moving the way that he used to. This is a young man's game. And there comes a point in an athlete's career where you just feel it. Now, me, I was out the game and I was in my prime. So I used to go to these church leagues and go ball out there. But even in my church league, I remember I hit like 29 and they want me to guard this 20-year-old. And I was like, nah, this is it for me. This is it.
Unfortunately,
I can do it, but I'm not doing it to the ability that I want to do it. So I'm going to hang him up. But that's what I saw with Travis Kelce, man. And I also saw Andy Reid, or, the way he was calling the game. He didn't shy away from the run, but he also didn't take shots. And the reason why he didn't take that many shots was because of what was happening with that offensive line. He felt like he couldn't protect Pat Mahomes long enough to take those shots. Towards the end of the game, I guess the Eagles let up a little bit. You got some shots down the field to Worthy, and people are yelling, why aren't you doing that the whole game? Because there's a moment in the game to where your discipline is going to be challenged. Either you're going to continue to run a complete offense. We still have to make them respect the run, throw our screens, then take our shots, and keep a defense off balance. Or you're just going to pack it in and say, we're one-dimensional now. We're going to try to get everything back with this one play right here. And what that does, it puts you further and further and further behind. So that had to be tough for Andy Reid to sit back and just feel hopeless. Like, we can't throw the ball deep because I can't protect.
Yeah.
I still have to run this offense to keep them on their toes. It had to be frustrating. Probably a feeling he hasn't felt since he was back in Philly losing to the Patriots.
I was going to say probably like one hand behind your back and you're just wondering, like, I know in theory I have calls that could beat this, but I don't have the guys to do it and the time to do it. What's another thing for you with Kansas City that really became clear on Sunday?
That you need more talent on the outside. And maybe you should use Xavier Worthy differently. He's the fastest guy on the football field. We saw that with his touchdown. He had a $157 on Sunday. But he was used vertically. Before this game, he would take his vertical shots here and there, but he was more the horizontal guy, the east-west, the jet sweep, the shallow cross, the drags. Let's get him the football and allow his speed to work with the football in his hands. But I think that they have something in Xavier Worthy where you can stretch the field. Now you got to get somebody else. Also, I saw D-Hop look old for the first time, too. There was a ball on 3rd down, I think, and he's wide open. And Pat Mahomes throws in the football, hits his hand, he drops it. But it looked like he thought he was going to get hit. So his awareness was just off right there. Feel bad for D-Hop, but that was the first time I looked at him. I was like, yeah, he's getting up there. He can still get her done. He can still be a number 2, number 3. But they are getting old. And I think that now their front office is going to be challenged because for 7 years you've been able to kind of just rely on Pat Mahomes. He's going to bail you out. Just be good enough to get there. No worries. But when you get dominated the way that they got dominated, that's going to hit your pride, and hopefully it hits their pockets. They got to go out and get somebody.
To your point about, hey, you need to do something on the outside and maybe change the way that you use Xavier Worthy, I think that their lack of aggression there became apparent to me in this game. We knew heading into the game, we knew heading into the AFC playoffs that the Chiefs were going to have one of the weaker skill position groups, but that Patrick Mahomes' ability and talent and maybe familiarity with Kelsey, the fact that they'd been there before, the fact that Reed was one of the best play callers in the game, that all of this would somehow make up for it. And it clearly didn't. And I think maybe because it hasn't truly cost them at a high level yet, that front office hasn't been super aggressive. We've spent the last couple weeks mostly praising that front office, and they deserve it, particularly with how they've been able to build that defense up. But they didn't go out and swing massive deals to get a receiver or pay a ton of money to replenish the receiver group. They let Hopkins kind of fall to them. They made a trade to go get Xavier Worthy in the end of the first round, but they knew that their biggest question mark heading into this season was wide receiver. They led the league in drops last year.
Well, they got Rashee Rice is banged up, right?
Exactly. So maybe their best weapon just isn't there.
That's going to help them in the long run. But I also think that him not being there obviously affects the way they're going to call plays. But Travis Kelce is the thing that makes his offense go.
Yeah.
It's Pat Mahomes and it's Travis Kelce. And if he's not able to be effective like he used to, then that's something you have to look at. But let's not pretend like Travis Kelce didn't have himself a decent playoff. I mean, he had 117 the first game and 1 touchdown. Only had 419, 6 and 39. Actually, he had a pretty average playoff if we're talking about Travis Kelce standards. So I think that's going to be the biggest decision that's going to be made this offseason. Is Travis Kelce going to come back? If he does not come back, how do you replenish that tight end possession? Because we know that is vital in this offense. So they're just going through a cycle that NFL teams go through. They just haven't really had this sense of urgency in the last 6 or 7 years.
The Seahawks might have been a surprising part of the Eagles' Super Bowl win. That's coming up in NFL headlines. Don't go anywhere.
When you're running the hurry up and don't have time for your favorite Seattle sports shows, listen to the podcast on demand.
How about that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Every hour, every interview, every look behind the scenes.
He is your new Seahawks head coach, Mike McDonald.
We want to play a certain way, and you're just going to chisel away at it every day.
Find us on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you get podcasts.
All signs continue to point to it being the right hire.
Never miss a minute of Seattle sports, the home of the Seahawks.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we are committed to giving you quality workmanship and white glove service that exceed your expectations. Get our exclusive leak armor installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
We at 3 Tree Roofing understand that your home is your castle. That's why our certified technicians use state-of-the-art installation methods to deliver the highest warranties available. Check out our hundreds of online reviews and schedule a free estimate to see for yourself. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Hey, let's throw a party this year for the big game.
Oh, great idea. But first, we should get a new TV. One of the top-rated brands, Samsung, LG, or Sony.
Okay, I'll start shopping on the internet and then head over to the Warehouse Club.
Well, but if that's all we do, we'll be sorry.
Why?
Because the best deals on those top-rated TVs are at video only, not online or at the club.
Video only?
Yep. We can save up to $500 if we shop smart.
Or we'll be sorry.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at pcfgroup.com, pcfgroup.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
A year after an entire summer was spent speculating about a Brandon Ayuk trade, another 49ers receiver is asking out. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported Sunday Deebo Samuel requested a trade during an exit meeting following the 2024 season. Quote, "It was a hard conversation to have with Kyle because of the relationship we have," Samuel said, "but I have to do what's best for me."
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Did the Eagles use a loss to the Seahawks as motivation throughout this season? That's coming up in 30 minutes with the NFL headline. Right now, though, we're getting to What Caught My Eye, Super Bowl 59 edition. The last time we'll have a What Caught My Eye, sadly. So let's get started. Bump, what you got for us?
What caught mis ojos?
That's Spanish.
I feel like I haven't done that in a while.
I know. Well,
It's
we've
been a
had
couple weeks.
Yeah, we've had a lot of random news. The OC search.
Okay.
We're diving back in.
That felt good.
Yeah.
It's the last time I'm going to do it, though.
I know.
But it's all good.
Sad.
But what was it, man? The Chiefs not crossing the 50-yard line until the third quarter. All right, that offense was struggling from the jump, man. That defensive line was going crazy. Cooper DeJean in that secondary going crazy. You got Mitchell as well. When I saw that stat, they had not crossed enemy territory until the third quarter. That's not something I'm used to seeing. I'm used to seeing this offense have at least one or two explosive plays down the field, hitting Travis Kelce, maybe even Xavier Worthy. Who knows? But this is not what I'm used to seeing when it comes to the Chiefs offense. That's how dominant Philly was from the very first snap they got after these guys, and that was impressive.
There were a lot of those stats. I loved the recap from Bill Barnwell, and he had so many of those in their bump where I was like, either it was something Patrick Mahomes had never experienced before, something the Chiefs had never done before, or just something that despite the clear dominance from Philly in this game, it didn't really dawn on you, right? I'm going to jump to my next one because I cheated. I have more than 3, but I have so many things I want to talk about. First, you guys are both going to disagree with me, and maybe even Matt, who I know didn't watch this game. I didn't hate the score bug. Now, I'll say this about it. I know that's egregious. Before you say anything, I know you're already disappointed, but listen to me. I love minimalist design. I love that there was no clear no background at all. My complaint is that the cities should have been smaller, that everything should have been smaller, a little more out of the way, and I would have loved just a bit more information. Like, minimalism is kind of cool until literally all you have is like the score and then the cities and like giant size 72 font. But overall, I liked the idea, and I think I'm the only person on planet Earth who feels that way.
Correct.
I didn't mind it.
Right.
I wasn't like, oh my God, what's going on? I go, oh, that's different. Okay. As long as, look, I'm very simple. As long as my eyes can find what it needs to find fairly quickly, I'm like, all right. Less is more sometimes. I wasn't overwhelmed by it. I didn't think it was just groundbreaking and great experience. I just thought,
yeah,
that's different.
Make the team logos, the names smaller, and then have like 2 more pieces of information. You know what I mean? Have down and distance there, maybe regularly, maybe the number of timeouts remaining, whatever it is, just like a little bit more information, and I would have been solid.
They had all of that? You just didn't like the way it was formatted.
No, I want it like regularly up there, which
okay.
even in games, they aren't going to have it up there all the time. But if you're going to be that creative with how you do it, you know, like Apple TV will have the stuff that they do for baseball games, and it's a little creative, maybe some stuff you haven't seen. That's what I would like in my score bug. But in terms of like the minimalism, I was okay with it. It was excessive, but cool.
Hold on. You're saying
the font was
excessive.
It was giant lettering and just very like.
Well, you know, I think they're thinking this is going to be shown across America in bars, at homes, people standing like behind Bobby's mom and dad.
That's a
and
great
they're saying,
point.
all right, let's just make these really big so
I know
you
my
can
mom
see
was
it.
squinting. I already know that, so that helps her. But
I can't imagine they bring it back in the regular season.
No, it was absolutely ripped apart. But the first thing I said to Derek when we were watching was, well, I kind of like that it's like a clear background. That's kind of cool. And then I looked on Twitter and everyone was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I hate it. All right, what you got? My first one was really stupid.
Nah, it wasn't stupid. That was
it's what caught
it was
my
a topic.
eye.
People were talking about that.
Yeah.
So now, what caught my eye? You know what? Travis Kelce went the whole first half without a catch. The whole first half. That's the first time in a playoff game he went a whole half without a catch. And it wasn't like he didn't get targets. He had like 1 or 2 targets where he could have caught the football, but he just didn't look in sync with his quarterback. And that is something that was an indicator. I saw the non-chemistry between those two. And you know, if they can't connect, everyone else is going to struggle as well. Big ups Xavier Worthy for doing his thing, but you got to get 87 involved. 15 and 87 have to be on the same page. I was really surprised, and I'm watching his routes, and I know that some of his routes are freestyle. And I'm watching the freestyle, and the bars just weren't hidden. Like he's turning the wrong way into a defender, or there's not a clear indicator at the top of his route so Pat knows where he's going. It was weird to watch, but I've never seen or felt that way about a Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce game. But yeah, man, he had no catches in the first half.
Weird.
He should never walk off the field after the first quarter and not have a catch.
Did you see someone joking about, because he wore this like very sequiny, glittery kind of like blazer outfit into the stadium and someone was like, I just know you must feel really stupid wearing that on your way out after a loss. Like, if you wear something that loud.
You got to post game fit.
Yeah, that's true. You could change into sweats on the way out and be like, I don't deserve to wear this.
I don't deserve this.
It was weird, though. I agree with you. That was a wild stat.
I got to look that up. What was he wearing?
Next up, I'm going to talk about Jalen Carter. I cannot tell you, Bump, and I know that you already know this, the number of people that have texted in about Jalen Carter today. This was certainly the case throughout the playoffs. I would say we saw it several times during the season when it became so obvious that this was a special year from Jalen Carter. Year prior was as well. But I don't know, man, just making noise in the postseason and this team being in a Super Bowl has led a lot of people to wonder, like, did the Seahawks make a massive mistake? And all I'll say is this. I really, really like Devin Witherspoon. I think he's exceptionally talented. I think there is a little bit of revisionist history that's happening with the conversation around Jalen Carter, where we all kind of forget that a number of teams had character questions about Jalen Carter. And it was not just about a tragic accident that happened off the field in Georgia. It was people wondering about his motor, wondering about his lack of availability to reporters while he was with Georgia, wondering if he was getting special treatment. Like, there was all kinds of questions people had. And I know because we asked reporters about them and we had so many people wondering aloud. So I think it's awesome for him, awesome for Philly that it's worked out where he's gone. Good for you. Like, the best case scenario is that all of that was a crock of you-know-what and he ends up succeeding just fine. But this was not Jalen Carter slipping in the draft in a vacuum without any explanation. People had concerns.
Yeah, when you're involved in some of the things that he's involved in, franchises have to ask every question and make sure they are 100% comfortable with you joining their team and them paying you millions of dollars. It is a risk. It is a gamble. And I understand why some teams didn't want to do that. Maybe he didn't interview well. Maybe the research that they did just didn't work out in his favor. They're talking to people at the university trying to figure out exactly who he is. And Philly probably looked at him and said, you know what, we'll bring him in and get him around the right people. And we will take that risk and be able to help him grow as a young man. And it seems to be working out for them. And good for Philly, good for Jalen Carter, because this could have went horribly, worst case scenario. But if you are investing in something, you got to be 100% sure. I don't know if you invest in stocks or whatnot, but every now and then I'll throw some money in it. And I only do it if I've done extensive research and I feel good. And even if I take the L, like, you know what, I'm taking the L. This might not work out, but because of the research that I did, I feel comfortable doing it. That's the same thing with Jalen Carter. So it worked out for him, and I'm happy for him. And that Georgia Bulldog team, they got like 3 Georgia Bulldogs in that defense.
Yeah, they have Nolan, Jalen, and I'm
Goodness
blanking
gracious.
on someone else. But
someone else out there.
They just have Georgia's defense.
That's Georgia's defense.
All right, what you got?
What caught mis ojos would be D-Hop. I'm watching D. Hopkins, and I'm feeling for my man, because for our generation, he's one of the best of all time. There's no denying. There's like a 4-year run where D-Hop was considered the best wideout in the game. And just watching him drop that pass when it looked like the ball snuck up on him, or maybe he thought he was going to get hit, I felt for him, because I knew this is probably it for him. He might come back next year with the Chiefs, who knows, but it's not looking as easy as it used to with the Chiefs. For the last 3 or 4 years, we almost penciled them in every single year when it comes to getting to the Super Bowl. So when you have OGs in a game who are chasing that ring and they have an opportunity and they fall short, I'm always going to feel for them, man, because D-Hop's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be considered one of the best to do it. But it hurt me a bit to see him not get that championship ring, even though I wanted Philly to get it done.
He falls under that category, not quite of Brandon Marshall, who really had it bad with Chicago, but of guys who put up, and he also did more than Marshall, but of guys who have put up amazing numbers. Maybe they have record-breaking contracts. Maybe they set the tone for wide receiver play or their respective position for the league, and you're just waiting for that to be followed up with a ring. And it just constantly either evades them or they get their chance, but the timing isn't right. Maybe they're older. Maybe the team just loses. And so I saw that story of Hopkins walking in, and he had like the fur coat, and his father, he had said it was his father's, and he was like, I was either going to wear it at my wedding or the Super Bowl, whichever came first. And I was just thinking like, oh, I hope he gets this. Like, I wasn't necessarily rooting for the Chiefs, but just like, good for him. Like, how cool. And you know, you're honoring your dad with this, but yeah, it's a bummer. He's a really likable guy.
Yep.
So next up, all of mine are stupid. This is something I noticed early in they are what caught my eye. The Super Bowl, more than any other game, is one with just a lot of fanfare. So all my what caught my eyes were stupid things, but they were the ones I wanted to talk about. Why are y'all booing Taylor Swift? Leave that girl alone.
What'd she do to you?
She looked so shocked that she was getting booed, and it was kind of a great clip of her looking around, realizing what was happening, and kind of looking. Who was next to her? Was it Ice Spice? I couldn't even tell, but like looking around like, what's happening? Why am I getting booed at the Super Bowl? We're not at an Eagles game. Leave that girl alone.
Hey.
She's doing nothing but writing music and playing her little piano.
Hey, leave her alone.
Leave her alone.
But sometimes it's good to be humble, you know? Sometimes it makes you a better person sometimes. Because she goes to these concerts and she has a cult. I've never seen people dress up so sparkly.
For real.
And then when they go to her concerts, everyone has these wristbands that they give to each other and stuff. Like, I've never been. I've seen it on like YouTube or whatnot. It is wild. So, you know what? Get booed sometimes. I remember the first time I really got booed was at Oregon State. And it humbled me, and it made me just want it even more.
Yeah.
So hopefully she releases a album with nothing but bangers, and she goes platinum, and she's touring the world for another 10 years, and she's going to have the last laugh.
Is that the last time you were truly humbled? Like, when's the last time, and it doesn't have to be when you were booed, obviously, but when's the last time where you're like, dang, that was very humbling?
Dang. This wasn't the last time, but this was a time where I was like, I was in college, and it was a house party, and everyone's dancing stuff. I'm feeling myself. I believe I just had a game, too. I was balling. Right, and I go to dance with this girl, and she looks at me and was like, nah. I was like, dang!
Wow.
For real? You gonna do me like that at my own party?
Wow.
It was at my house.
I'd kick her out.
That one got me.
You have to go.
Hey, do your thing. Do your thing. But yeah, that one, that humbled your boy.
Dang. Curtis, Matt, what's the last time that you can remember where you were really humbled?
This morning when Matt won. Yeah, cool.
That's fair. Matt has no moments.
Every morning.
Every
single morning.
Mine was when I was telling my sister I got sick at a restaurant and it was really embarrassing. And I said, and it was also my most vain moment where I went, well, what if someone was there recognizes me? And she was like, I was like, oh, God. Sam and Curtis have a lot in common in that both of them are constantly just, okay, whatever, you idiot. Let's see. Oh, your turn.
My turn.
Mine was that dumb Taylor Swift one. I didn't feel bad for Taylor. I didn't feel bad for Travis. I was surprised that a stadium of Super Bowl attendees booed.
I know, man. She was, what was she wearing? Like a white shirt and some black shorts?
Basic,
and red lipstick?
Leave
like
that girl alone.
Leave her alone.
Okay.
But learn
Last
something.
one.
Learn something, Taylor. I hope you took something from that experience. What caught my eyes, man, is Saquon Barkley and Kellen Moore saying, I know they want to stop the run. I know that's what they're here to do. I'm still going to hand the ball off to my man 25 times. 25 times to keep them on their toes. I think that was vital. If he were just to step away from the game plan and just ask Jalen Hurts to throw the ball 30, 35 times and be the hero, this game could end up differently. But he understood. I want to keep them in this look. I want to keep them in this personnel. I know what type of look I'm going to get when I get in this formation, this down and distance. I'm going to allow my guys on the outside to eat. So the fact that Kellen Moore had the discipline to stick with it, even though it wasn't hitting the way that you wanted it to, I think saved the game plan. A lesser offensive coordinator could have just threw it away and said, you know what, let's air it out because they're stopping the run.
How do you think he'll do with the Saints, Kellen Moore? Because
I think
that there's,
struggle.
I was going to say, there's an argument to be made for not just the massive talent gap that he'll have going from going from Philly to New Orleans, but in addition to that, he's lost out on a lot of his coaching staff, some of whom followed Clint Kubiak here to Seattle. Yeah. You don't have a quarterback. You don't have that offensive line. Like, everything is worse. It's like moving from a mansion to a little teeny tiny cardboard apartment.
It's worse, but it's an opportunity. And if they give him 2 to 3 years to try to get it right, then maybe you'll see some results. But yeah, it's going to be tough over there.
Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, Fox's Jay Glazer reports the Jets and Aaron Rodgers are expected to part ways this offseason. What's the real headline?
Aaron Rodgers is expected to part ways with reality during his next ayahuasca trip.
Whatever gets your mind right, dog.
Aaron. What did the Jets do at quarterback?
What do they do? You got the 7th pick in the NFL draft. Tennessee has 1 quarterback. Browns have 2, should. Giants have 3, maybe. Vegas, they should too. Vegas has the 6. So you got to hope for some guys in front of you to not take some quarterbacks. But there are some guys out there. I know we focus on Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders, as you should. But you got Melrose over there. You got Quinn Ewers as well. You have Kyle McCord, who is a good quarterback. You got Jackson Dart. There's 6 right there. So if you really want to take a quarterback in the first round, you can do that. But your other options are you going to make a play for Sam Darnold? Does he want to come back to New York? What about Kirk Cousins? Do you trust his health? So are you going to trade up? There are ways for them to get their quarterback, but the fact that they're willing to walk away from Aaron Rodgers means that they want not a fresh reset, but a reset when it comes to leadership. Because when he comes back, if he came back, that is his team, whether you want it to be or not. He's Aaron Rodgers, 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champion. He's going to take control of this thing. So I respect Aaron Glenn for either buying into this or bringing this to the table, because who knows, it might have came from upstairs and they're just saying we don't want to deal with Aaron Rodgers. But it's going to be interesting. We'll see what the Jets do with their 7th round or 7th pick.
Can I, on an unrelated note to this headline but related to our last conversation, when I was asking the 3 of you the last time you were seriously humbled, read you a text that we got in. Curtis and Matt, did you already read this one? Did you see it? Someone said, I'm a teacher and I wore a purple shirt a few months ago, and a 7th grader said, what up, Grimace? This was 7:15 in the morning. Dang. Leave me alone. This is why I could never be a teacher. I could never be a teacher. I'd fight a child. And I'm short, so I feel like it wouldn't be, messed up outside of it would clearly be illegal and unprofessional. But I mean, it's a fair fight, I'm going to walk away from this. What's our next headline rewrite?
Headline rewrites.
Headline 2, the 49ers have granted Deebo Samuel permission to seek a trade. What's the real headline?
A 49ers receiver requesting a trade starting to become an exciting new tradition.
Yeah, and Deebo wants out of there because he sees the writing on the wall. He sees that Pearsall is a good receiver. They're going to use him. They see that Brandon Ayuk just got paid, or he sees Brandon Ayuk just got paid. He's going to be featured. And then you have Juwan Jennings, who had himself a decent year as well. Deebo is not a receiver. He's an athlete. He can line up at receiver. You can put him at tight end. He can line up in the backfield. The thing is, his production hasn't been great, but the potential of those explosive plays is what gets you. And what he does to a defense, he holds them accountable. You have to know where Deebo is. But at 29 years old, you've had one 1,000-yard season. You are a great football player, but he's not great at one thing. Well, I guess if there is something he's great at, just with the football in his hands. But he's not a route runner like that. I was explaining this to my son. He was like, how could they get rid of Deebo? I'm like, man, Brandon Ayuk got routes. Juwan Jennings, routes. Pearsall is a playmaker. They feel like they're okay with this move, and it might be able to save them some money. So this makes sense. This is what happens when you're with the team for 5-6 years. You start hitting 29, 30 years old, they look at you different.
There are a couple teams that are clearly going to be shopping for wide receivers, whether it's looking to add in the draft. We learned with Jordan Reed, it's not an exceptional class for wide receivers. There's a lot of talent, but it's not, like this unbeatable class. Meanwhile, you've got a couple guys who could be available for trade. How many times have we seen a DK trade mocked to somewhere, whether it's the Chargers, whether it's New England? There are some teams that would be intriguing for Deebo. The difference is, as you mentioned, is that lull that he had in production permanent because of injuries he's racked up in his age, or is it just San Francisco had a down year? Everyone struggled in San Francisco this year.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, after just one game with the Mavericks, Anthony Davis is now expected to miss up to a month with an adductor strain. What's the real headline?
A few extra pounds doesn't sound so bad now, does it, Mavericks? Instead, you got the AD experience.
That thing's been updated to indefinitely now.
Yeah.
Indefinitely. I mean, this is the perfect storm for the Dallas Maverick fans to go to that stadium and protest and shake things up. I understand their frustration. That's something that I've dealt with as a Laker fan for 6 seasons. You never know when AD is going to go down and get banged up. All bad. But you know what's great about the situation? Luka premieres today on Monday for my Los Angeles Lakers. So,
wow, you did it, bub.
We did it. It took a while, and no one thought we could do it, but we did it.
Here you are. Yeah, no one. Everyone's always counting the Lakers out. I saw plenty of jokes about how have the Lakers managed to just constantly, at any given point, have at least one generational talent or at least one, perennial all-star kind of guy. It's just Like, what's the worst Lakers team to have existed?
Mid-90s.
Did that guy mid-90s? They had no one.
Nobody. We were leaning on Nick Van Exel, Sedell Treat, Cedric Sabalas.
Eddie Jones.
Eddie Jones was good, but he wasn't like generational. You know, there's
Right.
some talent,
Why?
but
So a little bit in the mid-90s was the gap.
mid-90s, and then when Shaq came over,
Yeah.
since like 98, 97, it's been a wrap.
It's just absolutely insane. What was the chant that
He's not fat, bring him back.
Yes! He's not fat. Bring him back. It's such a good chant.
What do people think's gonna happen? They're yelling and protesting. They're gonna be like, you know what?
No.
We're calling the Lakers. We're calling the Lakers right now. We want Luka back.
I think the idea is if I have no other power over you, it's at the very least to hurt your reputation, at the very least to publicly mock you. Like, you're not going to force an owner to do anything, but every single person, and I would imagine that list includes billionaires, kind of cares about their reputation and what people think. So if all I have is the ability to embarrass you, then I'll do that. I think that's the idea of protest.
It ain't doing nothing. It ain't doing nothing.
And through the power of the internet, there was photographic evidence now of the meeting between Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka at that Dallas coffee shop. And then another Mavericks fan commemorated it by putting a label from a label maker on that table saying, this is where Luka Doncic was traded.
Did AD's injury change your take at all about the trade?
Nah. I mean, no. Lakers got better.
Clearly.
Mavericks are good for the short term, maybe 20 minutes into the game short term. I think it was going to be that short term.
You didn't think short term meant
No, I didn't think it was going to be like 20 minutes. I thought maybe a year or two. No, it still remains the same. I still think that the Mavericks should have got more for AD, and it was both a risk. Neither of these guys play full seasons. They just don't. But I didn't think it was going to hit this hard. The only thing that would be fair is if Luka pulled up with an injury, but I don't wish that on anybody.
Mike McDonald had more to say about DK's role in Seattle's offense. That's coming up at 12:45. Coming up next, did the Eagles use a loss to the Seahawks as motivation for this season?
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
Brock, what is your bold prediction for the Seahawks this year?
I was looking at the numbers defensively when it was all said and done.
Every day at 7:45.
Finished in the top 15 in your major categories. I think year two with more time on task. Year two with a couple additional pieces. Year two with everybody basically coming back defensively and hopefully adding a difference maker third corner. This could be a top 5 defense in the league.
Blue 88 answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 4th, get fast, reliable Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires PayPal split on auto-pay stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed a musty smell in your home? I hope not, because damp smells mean that you could have a crawl space problem. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your crawl space and get to the root cause of the problem. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details. Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Just Cause Legal knows the value of standing up for what's right. If you've been involved in a car crash, Just Cause Legal is here to fight for you with an aggressive team dedicated to securing the compensation you deserve. Just Cause Legal makes the process as painless as possible. Don't wait. Time is critical. Get the help needed today. Visit justcauselegal.com or call 253-859-8899 and meet your legal lifesavers. Just Cause Legal. Fighting for you.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we are committed to giving you quality workmanship and white glove service that exceed your expectations. Get our exclusive leak armor installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
The Hot Stove Show. Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason with Aaron Goldsmith, Gary Hill, and Shannon Dreyer.
Swing and a miss for strike 3.
Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. leading up to spring training.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today. MSRP for stock number 26315 is $30,585.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
If you've been in a wreck or a fender bender,
you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutobody.wa.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Taking a look around the NFL, we are, of course, starting with the Philadelphia Eagles, winners of Super Bowl 59. Did the Eagles use a loss to the Seahawks as motivation throughout this season? This from Sports Illustrated's Greg Bishop. He said that Hurts had come so close to the title he most coveted, Super Bowl champion. His new obsession was obviously getting back there, having lost Super Bowl 57 to the Kansas City Chiefs. They talked about, Greg wrote about that collapse, winning their first 10 wins in their first 11 games of 2023 and then completely falling off the rails. He, Jalen, sensed the direction Philadelphia would head when the team's record suggested the opposite. Hurts' focus centered on taking any measures he could to overcome. It was inevitable, he says now. General Manager Howie Roseman said he arrived at the conclusion that they needed to just refocus and realign when they were playing their worst ball. He said, we weren't really playing our best ball, and unfortunately it didn't go our way the rest of the year. He cites a Week 15 loss to Seattle as the low point among many. But basically that low point to Seattle is when Howie Roseman, when Jalen Hurts, and presumably other people in this team were like, we need to be on the same page.
That was that Monday night game, I assume, with Drew Lock going down.
It's kind of like the Seahawks won the Super Bowl is what I'm saying.
Listen, he can point that out as, okay, that's where it was validation. Look, we're not doing something right. We're going down the wrong road. But, man, come on. He ain't thinking about the Seahawks. He ain't thinking about the Seahawks.
Yes, he is.
Man, he's going. No. He's starting the season 2-2 and trying to figure out how we're going to get out of this, and then every week getting better and better and better. That sounds good. That is a bullet point somewhere you can focus on and say, this is the game that made me think, okay, we are moving in the wrong direction. But he's not standing at the podium thinking, man, we won the Super Bowl. Man, we lost to the Seahawks, I remember, on Monday Night Football. But we're here now. Heck no, he ain't thinking about the Seahawks,
Look,
man. You wish.
As a Seahawks team who beat the Philadelphia Eagles, it can't relate to the Chiefs. You know what I mean? We haven't struggled that way. Moving on, DeAndre Hopkins is hoping the media keeps that same energy up when it comes to refs when discussing calls that go against the Chiefs.
You know, I saw a lot of things in the media about the refs, but obviously what y'all gonna say now about the refs and us when there was a lot of touchy calls? Are y'all gonna report that? Are y'all gonna talk about the refs now?
Listen, DeAndre, there were a couple calls that I didn't particularly like. In fact, we talked about one against McDuffie, like a really bad call that kept the Eagles moving. They ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive. That was the tush push, 1-yard touchdown. However, these refs were not the reason you lost this game.
Nah, son. D-Hop, OG, legend, for sure.
Always.
This is post-game emotions getting the best of you. He's going to watch film, or maybe not, because I remember my last game of the season, whether I was a coach or a player, it took me so long to watch that film because I never won a championship. So it was always after an L, and I'm like, I'm not watching this.
Yeah.
It takes me months sometime to watch that film. So when you go back, D-Hop, it's not going to be as bad as you think. But this happens every single game. And y'all lost 40-6 in my book, okay? 40-6.
Yes.
It wasn't even close, my man. So I understand that you were frustrated, you were upset. But listen, you know why you lost that game? Because of Sweat, because of Smith, because of Carter, because of DeJean, because of Jalen, because of AJ. Refs had nothing to do with that one, brother.
No, and again, like, everyone can complain about bad calls they get. You cannot be dominated and then point to a ref. If it was a close game, like, I think that his sentiment would have actually been completely appropriate and probably how any player would feel if it would have been close and the call goes their way and he would have been like, well, where's the energy when it's against us? The script didn't work out, did it? I would have been like, I can't even be mad at him because all we did for weeks and weeks and weeks, we collectively, is talk about how the Chiefs get calls, and here they are having their game end because of one. I would have thought it made complete sense. It would have been fair. Even if it would have been emotional, I would have understood it, but what bad call? What are you mad about?
My brother in Christ. Take the L, take the whooping.
And keep it moving.
Keep on moving.
Could Micah Parsons be another superstar pass rusher on the trade block just a little while after Myles Garrett publicly announced his desire to seek a trade? NFL Network's Ian Rappaport says Micah Parsons could be dealt. He said the 25-year-old superstar hasn't said much of anything about the team's promotion of Brian Schottenheimer after surprise parting of ways with head coach Mike McCarthy, a move Parsons called devastating. Rappaport says, while there have been no trade talks, sources said there have been at least some internal discussions about whether or not to pay Parsons or trade him for a king's ransom.
Listen, they are in the negative when it comes to cap, so that would help their situation out tremendously. But Micah Parsons, man, goodness gracious. If I were Dallas, I'd be trying to figure out how to get Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons together, even though you are in the negative. But if you were to trade Micah Parsons, you will get a first rounder out the deal, maybe even two. Not the same year probably, but you'll get at least 2 first rounders out of there, and you can start and try to rebuild this thing. But is that what you want to do? Jerry Jones at 80-something years old, do you want to start a rebuild with a head coach in Schottenheimer, who I don't know. We don't know what's going to look like. We don't know how long he's going to be here. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I know they would get a lot for that, but exactly what, I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd do this if I were Dallas.
If you had your pick, who would you go after, Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons?
Myles Garrett.
I think Myles
like 4
Garrett
years older, though.
But is 29, has had 7 double-digit sack seasons.
I don't trust Micah, his focus right now.
Now,
I don't trust his focus.
Micah, I don't know what Garrett's contract situation is other than he has limited guaranteed remaining money. I do think Micah would probably cost you more in terms of a contract.
Yeah, for sure.
But draft picks, probably Myles Garrett, you'd have to give up more.
Yeah. I like Garrett just because, man, you listen to Myles Garrett speak and how particular he is about things and his future. He's just a grown man who's aligned, who knows what he wants. Whereas Micah, I think, is still trying to figure out who he is. Heck of a ball player, but for the Seahawks, I want maturity.
I'll say this on a related note about Micah Parsons. If Micah Parsons were a Seahawk, we'd have sound all the time from the Micah Parsons podcast.
Oh, and I would love it. I would love it.
We'd have post-game conversations. We'd have his thoughts on teammates that had requested trades or teammates that had made mistakes. I'd be like, we have a segment every single day now.
No, I wouldn't frown at a Micah Parsons being here in Seattle, but are you making me pick? Yeah, I'm going Myles.
Next up, Shedeur Sanders told ESPN's Kevin Clark he's not too concerned with going number 1 overall in April's draft.
If you don't go number 1, are you the type that holds a grudge forever?
Why would I be mad? These are good problems to have.
I completely agree.
You could be in a way worse situation, so being number 1, that don't really matter to me at the end of the day.
I like that.
That don't matter to me because, I could go number 1, but it may not be a fit. Or I could go number 2 and it be a fit. Or I could go number 3 and it be a fit. So it's all about fit. It don't matter. Either any situation you're going into is not going to be the best situation.
Yeah.
So the numbers of it don't really matter. I ain't caught up on that.
Shedeur said, I don't need the Titans to take me number 1 overall. I'm just kidding.
I mean, but he's right.
Yeah.
And first, he's made millions of dollars already.
Yes.
It's not like he is so thirsty for the cash at this point. And he has his dad as a mentor, right? One of the greatest to ever do it. So the way he's looking at it is exactly right. I'm not worried about that. Let's just get to the best spot that I can be in. Either way you put it, wherever he is drafted, it's not going to be a great situation. You get drafted high because that football team isn't very good or wasn't very good last year. So I think his head is exactly where it needs to be. Good for him.
Draft order, Tennessee Titans number 1, Cleveland Browns number 2. The New York Giants criticized for winning late with Drew Lock and then falling to number 3. Is there a world where Sanders falls to 3? A world, because there's only 2 top quarterbacks. Both top 2 teams are quarterback needy, but
I've seen a mock where he goes to 3.
Really?
I've seen a mock where the Browns.
So Travis then jumps?
No, I think Cam goes 1. The Browns take a defensive player, and then whoever's after them. Who's after the Browns.
Oh, okay. So then the Giants would get Sanders?
Yeah.
God. I mean, Giants fans would lose their mind. I have a hard time seeing the Browns not take a quarterback. They do need defensive help. Maybe if they trade Myles Garrett, it signals, clearly that they can't just, lock up a quarterback there, that they have to find it. But, man, all right. I'm moving on here. Do I have time? Yes, quickly. Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie says he expects Kellen Moore to take the Saints head coaching job, something everyone else is expecting too. Congratulations to Kellen.
Big ups, Kellen, man. Super Bowl champion. You showed patience with your play calling last night, and now you got to take that over there with you. Who are you going to take with you is the question, too, because he's going to poach from that Philly team. And good luck over there. It's going to take him a couple years to get that going, though.
Coming up at 1 p.m., we're going to have a big existential type conversation about what it takes to win a Super Bowl. We have now seen another team win a Super Bowl. It was not indeed a three-peat. So a conversation last year about what it takes to win it all is probably a little bit different this time around. So did Super Bowl 59 change your idea about what it takes to win it all? That's coming up at 1 p.m.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Truly, I don't think I'd ever seen Mahomes shook. There was a large contingent that's in Geno's camp that says, see what life is like for Geno Smith? This guy's had to deal with more of it and the suddenness of it and how quickly it's on Geno Smith and how quickly he gets sped up because that 4-man rush affects him, and much like it did Russell at the end of his career in Seattle. See, no matter how talented you are, if a 4-man rush gets home before you can plant your feet, sure, kind of hard to play quarterback.
We know that. Everybody knows that. On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
The Gene Simmons Band, live Tuesday, April 8th at Muckleshoot Event Center. He's the God of Thunder. He's gonna rock and roll all night and bring you an unforgettable night of head-banging rock and roll. Get tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. The Gene Simmons Band, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Over 200,000 people were displaced by the recent Southern California fires. The road to recovery is slow, but your generosity is making a difference. G. Scott here. Together with your donations, Safeway and Albertsons were able to raise $5 million to help with food, shelters, and financial assistance. Organizations like the Pasadena Community Foundation, Pasadena Humane Society, Red Cross, and Salvation Army will benefit. My friends at Safeway ask me to thank you for your generosity and support.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
I fall in love with you more every single morning.
Babe, you're my favorite. My heart belongs to you.
At Shane Company, our fine jewelry says it all without saying a word. This Valentine's Day, give a gift they'll love. We have pieces you can personalize or classic gifts that are ready to go. Shop our collection of meaningful gifts, like necklaces engraved with flowers and a message of love. Or give timeless diamond studs or a stylish 14-karat gold chain. We have so many romantic gifts, no matter your budget. Just call us Cupid. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Hey. There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Yeah. Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Whoa, up top, bike shop. Yeah.
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messingthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years!
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five!
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
This isn't necessarily what we're talking about here. We're going to get into some really interesting Mike McDonald sound on DK Metcalf's role in Seattle's offense. But if I were to ask you guys, guess how many Eagles fans were arrested yesterday after the Super Bowl? How many?
I like it. 200. Whoa. Get them off the streets. Grease the poles
it's not
up.
200. That's way too high. What's your other guess?
10.
Okay.
20.
Okay. So ESPN has 10. But here's the deal. From other reports, I'm seeing as many as 47. So I'm going to go with 10 as ESPN has it. A couple other outlets have it. So, Curtis, you were right with that one. I'm wondering if that 47 number is from Super Bowl 52, like maybe beating the Patriots. There's just more, like anger there. I don't know. But I'm going to take this as a win for Eagles fans.
Yeah, it's a win.
You
It's
guys
all
were
a
on your
win.
best behavior.
47 of them things?
Yeah.
So that's not even like 15 got away. 15
I
got
think
away.
that's what
at
happened.
least.
So
15
10,
got
let's
away.
say 10. Let's say it's the 10 that were arrested, and I'm using it heavy quote marks. 6 of them were for assaulting officers. So initially, it's probably only like...
I'm going with 47. I'm going 47 and 15 got away. This is Philly. It's crowded in them streets. Come on now. Big ups Philly, man. And if anyone have seen, if you have a video or picture of someone making it to the top of a light post, please let me know because they greased them up.
I did see one video of Eagles fans taking over a garbage truck.
Really?
Yeah.
Why are you
As
out
one
on
does.
Sunday, though? Why are you
out? Because they're Eagles fans.
No,
They're
no, no. I'm
insane.
saying the garbage truck. Why are you working? You know what's about to go down.
I mean, they could have found that thing anywhere. You know
so
what
they're
I
driving
mean?
it around town.
Apparently.
That's crazy.
All right, we're getting on here. Mike McDonald, again, this interview from Aaron Levine of Fox 13 was talking about Geno Smith, DK Metcalf. The Geno Smith sound is a bit earlier in the show. You can go back and listen to it on the Bump and Stacy podcast right now. We're going to get to the latest from Mike McDonald on DK Metcalf. Curtis, would you actually mind playing this one for me? Cut 21. This is what he had to say about DK's role.
He's a main focal point behind it. I mean, you have to. I mean, this guy's an absolute force back there. He's such a unique player. But we got to do a better job of accentuating those strengths and making him feel a force throughout the season. I mean, he was off to a great start last year, and then, the injury, I think, probably maybe took a step back in the second half of the season, which is unfortunate. And this is a guy that will figure out ways to move him around. And Clinton has a history of doing that, whether it's with Justin Jefferson, Chris Olave last year in New Orleans. Just done a great job with that.
So, again, how he kind of envisions DK's role in the offense next season. I know that there are a lot of people that see DK Metcalf as being maybe a bloated salary, maybe your best trade weapon, maybe the easiest way to add offensive line help and moving on some of those resources. But for Mike McDonald, and I'm sure for Clint Kubiak, what you see is a weapon in the way that you can continue to separate yourself from the rest of your division if you use that weapon the right way. Bump, how do you see DK's potential role next season?
It could be big. I think you need a 1-2 combo, and I think that in Kubiak's offense, he does a good job of isolating receivers and getting those one-on-one type of matchups. And I think that DK, though, when you look at his route tree, I don't think you can compare it to one of the best route runners in the game, like a Justin Jefferson or even a JSN. But what he's good at, he is good at, which is getting behind defenders, running those posts, those corners, even those digs as well. He can run slants, he can run hitches, he can run outs, the short game stuff. But DK on the backside of a play, when you're rolling to the right side, he's on the backside, you're pulling the front side safety with you and creating all this space, that's where he's going to shine the most. And I think that's what Kubiak is looking at when it comes to using DK in your offense. And also just the shifts in emotion. Then you get some matchups. You get them in the slot, maybe against a safety or something like that, and you're able to use them in different ways. there's something that can happen to a receiver when he's put in a new offense. He can be rejuvenated and motivated and say, you know what, I'm going to try to take my game to the next level because I'm excited. And I think that is an approach that he should and will take. But when you look at Kubiak's offense, he does a good job of finding the one-on-one matchups or creating those one-on-one matchups. And I think that DK can thrive.
I'm thinking back to Mike Golick's, comments to us about, like, if you can't very quickly build up the best offensive line that you think you can. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. While I think it should be their number one priority, I don't have a ton of faith that they're going to jump up into a top 5 unit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have yet to see that here in Seattle. Even when they were a top 10 spender, they were not a top 5 unit. So I'm hoping that they invest. I'm hoping they prioritize it. But I'm also hoping that the weapons they have elsewhere on offense can be enough. And that faith I have lessens when you don't have DK.
Yeah, because you don't have something that most teams who win have, which is that downfield threat. The Kansas City Chiefs have that in Xavier Worthy. The Philadelphia Eagles have that in Devontae and in A.J. Brown. Like, what does this offense look like if you do not have that downfield threat? Here's the thing. I know we're talking about wideouts, and we talked about the offensive line. I think is the most important key. We're highlighting DK and what JSN can do in this offense. But if you don't have tight ends who can block in a Kubiak offense, you are done. That's one of my bigger questions. I'm going O-line tight end. I'm just going to assume that they work out a deal where DK is back and Jason is there. Tyler Lockett might be somewhere else. You're making some moves. But just like we talk about the offensive line, we got to talk about these tight ends. I think A.J. Barner is a developing tight end. I think he's going to be fine. I'm not giving up on my man after 1 year. I think Noah Fant can be a guy. We saw towards the end of the year his explosives go up. But you have to have physical type of tight ends who are going to line up one by one in a wing position, motion in the backfield, get downhill and block some guys. Tight ends who are going to be attached to the line of scrimmage and sell that outside run, then release. A tight end who has to be the most versatile player on the field, and that's typically what tight ends are because they got to block, they help on the run game, they help out in the pass game, and they release and catch the football. So I want to see what they do at tight end.
Have you seen enough from Noah or AJ to think that with those guys they could take a step forward, or do you think, like, no, they probably should draft someone?
No, I think AJ can take a step forward. I think that Noah just has to have the want to. I think he's more than capable, but I think you need another one. You need just a hammer, an old school, I'm just a Dan Campbell type of tight end.
It is fascinating how some teams have been able to really tap into that and have just unreal talent. And I don't mean just like, oh, well, if the 49ers got George Kittle or, the Chiefs got Travis Kelce, of course they ended up being great. Rob Gronkowski with the Patriots. But, like, when you have a tight end that is electric, that can be that versatile, it's crazy how it elevates your offense. And I wonder why the Seahawks, who have invested there, whether it's Jimmy Graham, whether it's, paying Will Dissly a pretty good-sized contract, paying Noah Fant a pretty good-sized contract. I wonder why they just haven't been able to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an offensive line thing, if it's OC. I don't know. Maybe that talent's just way more rare than I think.
You got 5 really good tight ends every year.
Yeah.
Receiver-wise, you got 10 to 15 of those every year.
Yeah. All right, we are jumping back to the Super Bowl, but this time we're talking about this. Did the Eagles winning Super Bowl 59, think about the type of team the Eagles are, change any of your ideas about what it takes to win it all? Maybe it strengthened a few of them. That's coming up next.
The Hot Stove Show, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m.
Have I ever told you how much I enjoy doing the Hot Stove Show? Every day. This is truly one of the best ways that we have to get to know some of these guys. Long-form conversation. You don't have the pressures of the season. You're not in the clubhouse, right? There's not a hitters meeting or a pitchers meeting to go to. I think we get some of our very best stuff from all these guys, players and coaches, front office members, right here each and every week during the winter.
Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason. The Hot Stove Show, every Tuesday leading up to spring training.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
April breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
This is the story of the one. Who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Guys, I'll never forget the first time I saw somebody get results at our clinic. He was an 81-year-old man who hadn't been intimate with his wife in over 8 years. Viagra had stopped working for him, and he was desperate for help. After several treatments, he walked into my office and told me he couldn't believe the results. Needless to say, this was a very happy man. This man made me a believer in what we do. He had taken pills for years, but he had never fixed the problem. When he came to us, we fixed the problem. Our treatment does what no pill can do. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today, like the thousands of men who already have.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 4th, get fast, reliable Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires PayPal and auto-pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at PCFgroup.com, PCFgroup.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Luka Doncic is expected to make his Lakers debut tonight against the Utah Jazz. This after being upgraded from questionable with a left calf strain to probable. Doncic last played on Christmas Day. The Eagles are planning to celebrate their Super Bowl 59 win with a parade. It's scheduled for Valentine's Day.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Did the Eagles winning Super Bowl 59 change or even strengthen an idea you had about what it takes to win it all? Get your answer in 866-979-3776, just the Mac and Jack's text line. Here's the point of this conversation. We all would love to see the Seahawks in a Super Bowl. Some people think they're close. Some people think they've got miles and miles to go. I want ultimately this conversation to be about, like, how do you do it? Like, how do you actually win a Super Bowl? When certain teams win over others, does it change our perception? Do ideas ever get challenged? So this is kind of what I'm talking about. One thing that I have heard my entire life that was certainly strengthened with Super Bowl 48, defense wins championships. Defense wins championships. And there have been some Super Bowls since, Bump, where I found that challenged for me, most especially when, not necessarily in a Super Bowl, but Sean McVay's Rams teams were just taking off, and you were seeing high-flying offense and heavy focus on the pass. And I was thinking, do defense, will that be challenged? But that felt strengthened with this one.
Defense wins championship. We heard Jalen Hurts say it after the game. He was like, listen, man, I threw the ball 22 times. I connected 17. I did what I was supposed to do. But that defense made it to where he didn't have to go out there and have himself a big game. And I think that even in the games where it's high scoring, defense is going to ultimately win a championship because someone's got to get a stop at the end of the game, right? A defense can win a championship, but an offense can, in some cases, get you to that moment, right? Offenses, we've seen the Denver Broncos offense carry them all the way to the Super Bowl, then get smacked. Like, we've seen offenses lead the charge, but when it's time for a big moment, either that quarterback's going to get it done or that defense is going to shut it down. So with Philly, though, it's been defense all year. I mean, they've been top 3 in as an overall defense this year for the majority of the year. This defense did win that championship. Yep. That defensive line did corral Pat Mahomes, the best in the game right now. That defense forced Kansas City to throw the ball 30-something times and only run the ball 11 times because they were down so quickly, so early. Defense won this championship, but the quarterback is always going to be the exclamation point. Because you can have a defense. You can have that defense play the same game that they played yesterday, but if Jalen Hurts does not apply pressure, if he does not have a 17-yard run on a third down, if he doesn't find A.J. Brown on the crossing route or Devontae Smith for that shot, then it's a different story. Then you give life to the Chiefs, right? Uncle Momentum shows up and things start to shift a little bit. Defense set the tone early. Defense held it down, sprinkling Jalen Hurts and what he did. You got a championship.
Let's see. I was trying to think of so who are the last team that wasn't great defensively? The last team to get to and win a Super Bowl that was number 1 in total defense during the season was the Denver Broncos in 2015. Obviously, that was another example of defense wins championships. But, I mean, I mentioned the Rams. In the 2021 season, they were one of the best total offenses in the league, number 4 overall, the number 3 passing offense. They were the number 2 defense in terms of limiting yardage. They were still a really, really good defense. You can find, that New England Patriots defense essentially won that game. The Rams didn't score at all. Tom Brady didn't score at all. Kansas City Chiefs in 2019 is maybe the closest. So the 2019 season, that offense was spectacular.
Right.
The defense was really good with getting sacks. And I think, if I remember correctly, pretty solid on third down. But that's probably the last time where a team won without a really, really, really good defense.
Yeah, and even if, your defense still got to be good at something, right? You can't just drag a defense in that does absolutely nothing and hope that they just turn it on. You mentioned the 2019 Chiefs or 2020, whichever ones that were just good at getting the quarterback. What are you good at? Getting the quarterback. All right. Overall, you got some things you need to work on. But yeah, defense, it sets the tone, man. And it's all about the big boys in the trenches. And Philly has done a great job drafting and developing those young men. And for the next 2 or 3 seasons, you're going to have to deal with that specific group. I think you're waiting to see if Josh Sweat signs a new deal or not. But other than that, for the most part, those dudes with their hand in the dirt are going to be back next year.
All right. How about you? What's another idea where you were like, this was a fundamental truth that I've held about what it takes to be a Super Bowl team? Was it strengthen, challenge?
Oh, I love this.
Right?
I love this one.
I think I know where you're going to go.
Wide receivers, baby.
I knew you were doing
Hating on the receiver getting money. Hating on A.J. Brown, who has the 3rd highest annual average at $32 million a year.
Wow.
Oh, I love this. I love this because you don't pay him. Well, you do pay him weeks 1 through 17, 18. You do.
Yes.
But you pay him
a lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. But you pay him to catch that back shoulder throw. You pay him to catch that ball on 4th down where there was a PI called, which was ridiculous. You pay him to catch the crossing route and to just be there for the big play when you need it. That's what you pay him for. $32 million a year. And finally, y'all can stop saying it ain't worth it. It ain't worth paying a receiver that much. In some situations, it's not because you don't have the quarterback, you don't have the O-line, you don't have a defense, right? But in certain situations, it's perfect. And I think this is exactly it. A.J. Brown, I think for the Detroit Lions, paying Amon-Ra St. Brown $30 million a year, it is worth it because he's going to make some plays for you. Now, you're going to need your defense over there with the Detroit Lions, but defense been banged up. So thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for paying A.J. $32 million and him getting a ring so these wide receiver haters can shut their mouths. I get some of your situations, but come on now,
I
AJ.
mean, this was not long ago that we were having a conversation about the 4 championship teams and how so many of these were led by either really athletic mobile quarterbacks or really, really strong run games, particularly when it came to the Eagles, obviously, who ended up going on to win a Super Bowl. I think because of that, there was some attention taken away from really explosive wide receiver talent, including high-paid wide receiver talent. Amon-Ra St. Brown with the Lions, A.J. Brown with the Eagles. I get why they kind of fell to the wayside.
Oh, Stacy, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Stacy.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith gets $25 million a year, too.
You have
they
two
got 2
high-paid.
of them things. Guess who scored touchdowns? Both of them things scored touchdowns, man.
I have a related one.
I love this. Yes, go for it.
So one thing, and again, a lot of my ideas about what it takes to win a Super Bowl are heavily influenced by the team locally that I watched win a Super Bowl in 2013. So one of the things has always been, you can't pay a quarterback a ton of money and win a Super Bowl. And Patrick Mahomes kind of started to challenge that when he was one of the higher paid quarterbacks and then won a Super Bowl. But this is now 2 consecutive seasons where in terms of average annual value, your starting quarterback is making at least $45 million. Jalen Hurts is making 51. Patrick Mahomes is 45. Neither of these guys are number 1 or even 10 in average annual value. Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Goff, Justin Herbert, Lamar, and then Jalen at number 9. So there's quite a few ahead of them in terms of AAV, but it used to be you got to win with a rookie. And then once you pay him, you can never be a championship team. And that's kind of been challenged in the last several wins.
Yeah. And you know what this reminds me of? The conversation. We had this conversation a year or 2 ago, and I told folks, and when they were saying, oh, you shouldn't pay a receiver, not going to win with a receiver getting paid that much. And I told folks, you don't know that because we haven't seen these type of numbers. Just let the NFL play. Let the seasons go by, and we're going to see it. Just like we saw a quarterback finally win one, accounting for 20% of the cap. Just let it play out. Like saying never in any type of scenario when it comes to sports is just, I wouldn't recommend it because things change constantly. So even the ones who are still holding on to it, oh, they didn't need AJ. Shut your mouth. Do you know what AJ does to a defense? The type of pressure he puts on them? Goodness. Devontae going up top, $25 million. He's like the 11th highest paid receiver in the game. It's okay to admit when you're wrong. And I think that's what some people are afraid of.
Yeah,
I mean, I do it all the time. I do it all the time. I'll mess up and come back and say, oh, yeah, I got that wrong.
Hate admitting when I'm wrong.
You know, It's okay.
I have some listener ones, but why don't you give me one more? Just like a fundamental truth, maybe something new that you believe or something that was reinforced.
Something new that I believe?
Only
no,
if you
something
have
that's
one,
reinforced.
or
No, I guess something that's
reinforced.
reinforced.
Yeah.
Geno can win a Super Bowl. Give him a team. Give him an offensive line like Philly. Give him a running back like Philly. Give him a defense like Philly, and he can win a championship. Easier said than done.
Okay, so I did have a related one. Kevin and Callie says, what did the Super Bowl reinforce? That you don't need an elite superstar quarterback to win. My fair question for you, and I think it's a fair point by Kevin, are we discrediting Jalen in saying that? Like, Jalen is not Patrick Mahomes, but it's not like he's, Kirk Cousins.
He's not an all-pro quarterback. We've seen all-pro quarterbacks win the last however many. Pat got 3. Tom Brady got 1. Matthew Stafford has 1. There's 3 quarterbacks right there who have all been all-pro at some point. Jalen Hurts has never been an all-pro, and it's because of what he's asked to do and just his game. So, yeah, I think it reinforces like you don't need a first-round draft pick. Your chances go up tremendously with that first-round draft pick. If you don't, you have a guy like Jalen Hurts, you're going to need a lot of help, and that's exactly what he has.
Let's see, a fundamental truth. Nelson and Kent, even the greatest quarterback, will look terrible under pressure. Very good point. You need a mobile quarterback, says the 253.
I think you and I talked about this. That's where the game is going. Now, it doesn't have to be Jalen Hurts mobile, but I think the bare minimum in the next 5 years is going to be Joe Burrow mobile. Like, Joe Burrow can get busy. He's not going to rush for 600, 700 yards, but he's going to keep that defense honest when things break down. So, no, I like that.
Someone said, to be fair, Russell Wilson wasn't close to All-Pro the year we won. Absolutely true. And I think that's where so many of the Super Bowl 48 comparisons come from, including for national people. I do think Russell Wilson doesn't get, and the offense in general, I'm including Marshawn Lynch. Like, Marshawn Lynch, local legend, still a huge part of the reason why they ended up getting to and winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, that offense, quietly the best offensive line Schneider's had. Russell Wilson made big plays when it mattered. Marshawn Lynch rushed for, I want to say, over 1,200 yards, around there.
Yep.
And obviously the defense is why you won. They won you your Super Bowl. They set you apart. They made you elite. That they did it for 4 seasons continues to blow my mind to this day. But I do think sometimes a little revisionist history is you can be average or mediocre offensively, and if you're elite defensively, you'll win. And it's like, I don't think that's fundamentally been true since the Ravens.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's been a minute since that's been, like, totally true. Okay, let's get to a couple more. Let's see, 866-979-3776. A fundamental truth about the Super Bowl. You need a run game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
You do.
Yeah. Just have 3 straight epic drafts, and then you can pay a wideout. That's another listener.
That works.
Hey.
You can pay 2 of them.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so we got to defense wins championships, the idea that high-paid wide receivers can't win, not true. That high-paid quarterbacks can't win, not true. That mobile quarterbacks are hugely important, true. That you must win in the trenches, true.
And like mobile quarterbacks, not like Jalen, Josh, and Lamar.
Yeah.
That's a different type of mobile.
That's true.
That's like
dynamic.
I get busy type of mobile.
Yes.
I'm talking mobile, just break off a couple of runs a game to keep the defense honest.
How do we feel? We talked about the importance of a run game. How do we feel about paying a running back or reinvesting in a running back? Because I think the Eagles adding Saquon as a free agent, obviously that's a huge part of their season. They did that in a time in which the league has been undervaluing, devaluing, underpaying running backs.
Yeah, but they got like a one-of-a-kind type of running back.
And one-of-a-kind offensive line.
It's like if you look at the 6'6", 330-pound average on that offensive line, you're going to want a guy in the backfield. They had Gainwell over there who's been with the team for a while for Philly, but Saquon's a different beast. And I think that it's unfortunate that he's not going to get the payday that he probably deserves. But like I said, with the offensive lineman, the league determines what you're worth. Saquon is just different.
Someone said the most legendary quarterbacks of all time would all look pedestrian if a 4-man rush got home as much as Philadelphia's did. That 0 blitz total is still wild.
Yeah, 0.
Like hours and hours and hours after hearing that, I'm like, there's
0.
No
they said
way.
we don't need it.
6 sacks.
Banjo's
on
up in the
0
booth
blitzes.
like, Mike will blitz. Nah, we don't need it. We don't need it. We good. We
Imagine
good.
being that automatic. Crazy. Someone said just draft a bunch of Georgia studs. Yeah, that could be a fundamental truth.
It's going to
sure.
be different now, man, because the money's being spread out. You might have to draft a SMU stud,
I was just going to
a
say.
Louisville stud. You don't know where they coming from
Get
now.
a North Carolina guy in there.
Uh-huh.
Just
It's
kidding.
different.
That's never going to happen. Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory. Going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael
Sticking with the
Bumpus.
Super Bowl first down, why do you believe Jalen Hurts when he says they aren't finished, insinuating there will be multiple Super Bowl runs for the Eagles?
Yeah, they're going to be all right. And the reason why they're going to be okay is because of the youth movement going on over there. You got Jalen Carter, who's 24. He's signed through 28. DeJean, 22. He's signed through 28. Ringo, 23. He's signed through 27. And Mitchell, 24. He's signed through 29. And Smith, 24. He signed to 27. And then you look at that offensive line. We talk about protecting the quarterback and creating lanes for these running backs. It all starts with the bigs. Dickerson is signed to 29. Juergens is signed to 26. Johnson is signed through 27. And Mailata is signed to 27 as well. So that's just the foundation. You got a young defensive lineman, 3 young men in the secondary, and then a young rusher in Smith, and the O-line, 4 to 5 are going to be good. Don't forget the ballers, though. The guys who got paid a lot of money, who y'all said shouldn't be paid a lot of money. A.J. Brown is signed to 2030. He's 28 years old. You got Devontae, who's signed through 29. He's 27. Barkley is signed through 27. He's 28. And you got Hurts, who's signed through 29. He is 26. Now, eventually, the band's going to break up because guys going to want to get more money. Team's going to offer more.
Older,
you get the value, right? That's the name of the game. Father Time always wins. But for the next 2, maybe 3 seasons, the window is open, and it's because of the youth mixed in with these veterans who are still pretty young when it comes to their contributions.
Second down. What did the Chiefs defense do to minimize Saquon Barkley's effect on the run game, and how did the Eagles then counter?
You got to respect what Spags did. He still blitzed the heck out of the Eagles, but he also played a 3 safety look, kind of like what we saw when over here in Seattle, right? You bring that third safety down, he's like your nickel, but you bring a safety and you put him in the box because you want a tackler, right? Get another strong safety body type out there. And what they did was they did a great job keeping Barkley from breaking those outside runs. He has a bunch of outside runs in the playoffs alone this year. I think in the division he had a couple 20-plus yard runs. You got a 60-yard run. You have another 60, another 20, 2 touchdowns, but they're all pretty much getting outside. The outside zone in the toss is Barkley's favorite play. I heard Tom Brady, who was finally let into some production meetings, point that out there during the game. But so they did a good job just corralling, keeping their linebackers clean. Big ups to their linebackers, man. They played themselves a good game. Drew Tranquill, Nick Bolton. Those guys had like 11 and 8 tackles, did great. So what did Philly do to counter that? They said, all right, we're going to keep running the football. You know what, Saquon? You're still going to touch it 25 times. Also, what we're going to do is we're going to swing you out in motion. We're going to make those flat defenders get wide and open up the pass game. Also, we're going to swing you out and give you the football in the flat and have a 2 versus 3 situation out there. You got to make one guy miss. We are going to keep Saquon Barkley in this game, even though Spags' defense did a great job of eliminating him when it comes to the run game. So good patience by Kellen Moore. He took what the defense was giving him, but he also gave them what they wanted to see. I'm going to line up in the formation you think I'm going to line up in, and I'm going to show you the run you think is coming your way, and then I'm going to call a quarterback run. Then I'm going to take a shot outside. It was just a very mature game plan for Kellen Moore. And again, the Chiefs did exactly what they were supposed to do. Make Jalen Hurts beat you.
Third down. What did we witness on Sunday?
I think we witnessed the creation of a blue-collar superhero in Jalen Hurts.
He brings a lunch pail to work every day. I feel like I got a blue-collar song in me for Jalen Hurts.
You got it in you. You got it. I went back and I looked at his numbers from high school and compared them to Pat Mahomes. The most touchdowns he threw in a year was like 18, but he rushed for like 17. And Pat Mahomes had like 49, 50. Like, it was just crazy. So then he goes to Alabama, we all know, and wins a national championship, but he's benched. And did he pout? No. He still had a smile on his face, won a national championship. Then he goes over to Oklahoma and just goes freaking nuts. What he threw 32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and he's drafted in the second round. Waits his turn, makes it to the Super Bowl 1 year, gets his bag, has a year where he falls off a little bit, and then comes back and now is a Super Bowl champion and Super Bowl MVP. I haven't met anyone who said that they don't like Jalen Hurts. Like the way he handles himself, the way he handles these interviews, pre, post, halftime, all that good stuff. And he's like an underdog. But in no way is he really an underdog. He was a high recruit. He went to Bama, went to Oklahoma, drafted in the second round. But I think that people might start buying into Jalen Hurts and just his story, because we create stories. That's what we do. That's why Josh Allen got that MVP, because we created this story. Oh my God, he doesn't have anything over there.
Yeah.
That team is garbage without him. Are they the same without him? Probably not. But we create these stories, and I hope that a story is being created for Jalen Hurts. The one, he's elevated a bit. He's not elite of the elite, but he's right there looking at him, and that he's just a likable type of guy. So I think we're seeing the creation of a blue-collar hero in the NFL.
I was going to ask, when's the last time that a Super Bowl winning quarterback was like the dude for most of the time? And I was thinking maybe Matthew Stafford, number one pick out of Georgia. But, I mean, he wasn't even the Rams pick.
Yeah.
But that's probably the last one I can think of, because Patrick Mahomes, for all that people have to love about him now, no one was crazy about him coming out of the air raid, Texas Tech. What's he going to do? You already have Alex Smith. And then, obviously, Jalen went to an SEC school, but, like, day 2 pick.
Yeah, probably Peyton Manning.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, in 2015. There's probably some in between there, but, like, technically Nick Foles was the quarterback for the Eagles in Super Bowl 52. Like, we all know Tom Brady's story. It's interesting. It's like you think of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks for the last 10 years that were the dude. Or think of a Trevor Lawrence. Everyone knew exactly where he'd be picked.
Yeah.
He was picked there. Then everyone knew he'd be paid. He was paid. Like, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Interesting. 4th down. What new rule, though not likely, could have had a huge impact in the game?
Now, these things work out 6% of the time. Onside kicks. And I know if the Chiefs had that at their disposal, they would have done it in the third quarter. They would have done it so early, like, listen, we're down 30, guys. We need something to work out for us. They would have kicked an onside kick. And I don't think it changed the game, right? I mean, these things typically aren't recovered. But it was funny to be in that situation and know that if it was there for them, they would have kicked that onside kick, had to wait until the fourth quarter, and then you have to declare if you are doing it.
Yeah.
Like, the element of surprise is all gone with this thing. I say let them. Second half. Anytime in the second half, let them do it. You're in the Super Bowl. You are down. You need to create a turnover. You need to get a secret possession or steal a possession. That would have done it for them, and they couldn't do it.
A texter said, at first I was like, why? He said, I can't stand Jalen Hurts. Something about his face. And I was like, oh. And then he said, his lines are too crisp. Jalen Hurts is so handsome.
He's got that jawline.
There's definitely players like that. Not even just players. Like, there's been real people I know in real life, actors, actresses, musicians, where you're like, I don't know why I hate them. Maybe it's that they're too handsome. Like, they're too good looking that you just can't stand it.
Right? What does that feel like?
Right?
Looking like that.
I wonder. God, Jalen. All right, let's see what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
I know what Bump's watching. Luka Doncic makes his Lakers debut tonight on ESPN. Tip-off against the Utah Jazz is at 7:30 p.m. Coming up next, something I haven't heard anyone mention about the Super Bowl, and it's relevant for Seahawks fans.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Question: how many current starting quarterbacks could have won that Super Bowl besides Hurts?
On that team?
On that day, on that team. If Geno Smith were quarterbacking that game, does it look any different with him quarterbacking it than Jalen? I don't think it looks much different. I really don't. And Mike Salk says,
I mean, yes, any quarterback surrounded by, or almost any quarterback surrounded by immense talent everywhere else on the team,
Jared Goff,
will eventually compete and or win a Super Bowl.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Two explosive bands. One massive night of alternative rock. Lit. Fuel. The Ignited We Stand Tour hits Muckleshoot Event Center Wednesday, February 19th. Get your tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. Lit and Fuel. Light up the stage. February 19th. Only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Take your game day experience to the next level with a Mariner Suite. Suites are perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, client meetings, and that company outing you've been trying to plan for months. Enjoy first-class catering, VIP parking, custom setups for 14 to 400 people, and more, all with the help of a dedicated Mariners rep. Suites start at $125 per person, and season ticket members get 15% off. Reserve now at mariners.com/suites.
Munoz strikes out the side, and the ball game is over.
Choose the right flooring for your home, right in your home, with Floor Coverings International. They bring a mobile showroom to you, loaded with samples of carpet, LVP, hardwood, laminate, tile, and more. So go see them at the Northwest Remodeling Expo at the Seattle Convention Center February 7th through 9th, or at the Seattle Home and Garden Show at Lumen Field February 20th through 23rd. Earn a $250 gift card good on any project when you book a free in-home consultation. Floor Coverings International, the stars of flooring.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Our friends at Mazda of Everett always offer you their lowest price. Shop over 800 new Mazdas online at mazdaofeverett.com. Click on Get the Mazda of Everett price for their best deal. Shop mazdaofeverett.com or stop in and meet our friends at Mazda of Everett, located in Everett at 11409 Highway 99. If you're shopping for a new car, make sure our friends at Mazda of Everett are on your list.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/Cyberknife Prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we offer premium windows that are 25% more energy efficient, reduce noise by 50%, and come with clean glass technology. And Leak Armor installation gives you a lifetime warranty to protect your home. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
Through February, for each window or door you buy, you get one at 50% off. Plus, make no payments for 18 months OAC. For details, visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com today, a name you can trust.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy
Weekdays 10 to 2.
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We were just talking about levels of hotness. That's not what we're talking about here.
You ever seen a girl so fine,
That's what I'm
like
saying.
she makes your heart burn? Like, oh, snaps. Is that real? Are you real?
And I think we can be honest about, like, there are levels to people's attractiveness where there is a level of attraction that some celebrities are. Like, I feel like Adam Ray was on Wyman and Bob talking about meeting Margot Robbie, like, in person. And I know that there's, like, random Twitter trolls living in their parents' basement that are going to be like, she's mid. But if I'm remembering correctly, he was like, you see her in person and you just freeze.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are her teeth so white? Her face is so symmetrical. Like, I would imagine that we were joking about Jalen Hurts. And there are some people where you just see them in person and you go, I don't know what to do. Do I talk? What do I say? This is incredibly overwhelming. What a life those people must live. What a life. There is something I haven't heard anyone mention about the Super Bowl, except for a podcast I listened to and Curtis during a commercial break. And I think it's very relevant for Seahawks fans. It's Clint Hurt as the Eagles defensive line coach being obviously a massive part of what they did. We have spent 4 hours talking about just how impressive that defensive line was in this game. And Vic Fangio, that's his baby, right? Like he's the architect of this. But we, for the 2 years that he was DC here in Seattle, we're just like, what isn't working? Like what isn't working out? Like this clearly isn't, maybe it's not the right fit. Maybe it's assistance. Maybe it's not having the talent. So I wanted to have just that part of the conversation about, like, look, it's worth mentioning that someone who failed as defensive coordinator here went to Philadelphia and really found success as a defensive line coach again there. Why? I find these conversations to be interesting, right? It's like your ex goes somewhere and succeeds and you go, was it me? Was that person, better? Like, what happened here?
Talent. You need talent, and that's exactly what they have. But also, Vic and Clint Hurt have worked together before in Chicago, and I think that connection is important as well. Like, it wasn't like Vic had to sit down on every defensive line meeting and make sure things are being taught exactly the way he wants them to be taught. He trusted that Clint Hurt is going to get this done because you know my system, but you got to have talent. I mean, you look at that defensive line over there for the Eagles, and you look at the defensive line that was here when Clint was here, they just got it. They have that talent. But I don't want to undersell the coaching, though, because what coaches have to do, do you remember that time during the season where Jalen Carter did something and Sirianni wasn't agreeing with it, and he's going after Carter, and Clint Hurt had to stand in front of him and be like, look, I got this. Let me do this. And I think there's little things like that show up for a player that gets you to even play even harder or lock in a bit more because you feel like your head coach has gotten, or your position coach has your back. I texted everyone in our broadcast crew on Sunday and got their picks for the game, right? And I texted Jen Mueller. I said, all right, man, who do you have for your pick? And that's the first thing she said. As much as I love Clint Hurt and all these guys, I think the Chiefs are going to win. But she pointed out, like, look, Clint's a good coach, and I like what he did here. So it's not a surprise that you see a defensive line who is playing at a high level, and you naturally look at their coach. And if your coach has a connection to your city, you ask the question, all right, why didn't it work out here? I think it was the details of the defense because they're running Fangio's defense, but here in Seattle, but Fangio wasn't there. And it's the talent as well. So now you give a guy who understands your system just as good or just slightly less than the guy who's running the show. You give that guy some talent, and you're doing less teaching. That's the thing, too. And you got talent. You're not focusing on the little things as much. They're little reminders. Hey, don't forget to do this. To whereas if you're working with a unit that is less than most units in the NFL, there is so much teaching of the little things that goes on. And then when you're constantly teaching a guy, he's not his full self. He can't just go out and play. Like, if I'm coaching a Jalen Carter, I'm giving him reminders, but in the day being like, all right, look, man, this is your gap, though. All right? Like, look, this is where I want your hands. This is where I want you to be. But players also can do some things that we wouldn't allow the next guy to do. Like, Jalen Carter can get away with things that the next guy up just can't get away with. So talent has something to do with it. Hurts understanding the defense, being in a great situation, reunited with Fangio. Perfect storm.
Such a good point about being reunited with Fangio and his understanding of that system in general. I think the two things I kept hearing here in Seattle were, one, that there was a personnel gap, that switching to that 3-4, like you needed bigger bodies up front that you just didn't have. And the second thing was that point about coaching and teaching, right? That, like, I remember Dave Wyman saying, I feel like they have more talent than their performances would indicate.
Yeah.
So he felt like a lot of it was communication or coaching or guys not remembering their assignment, like something about the way things were being executed or communicated, because he was like, I don't look at this team and see a team of nobodies.
Right.
Like, you see guys that are taken second round, former first rounders signed here as free agents, guys who were really solid with other stints, and it just wasn't clicking. So that was always really interesting to me. I thought it was at least worth mentioning. Like, congratulations to Clint Hurt, who, you know, was only ever really liked and respected by players here. It obviously didn't work out. And once Pete was gone, you knew that was changing. But I think it's always interesting to look back and go, okay, this person succeeded in a different role with another team. What can we learn from that?
And there's less on your plate when you're just coaching your position.
Yeah.
You know, as a defensive coordinator, there's checks and balances. And I don't know everyone who's on that defensive staff for Philly, but I would almost bet that they have some connection to Vic Fangio and his defense. When you are 60-something years old, man, I saw a stat, like he's been in the NFL for like 40 years or something like that. You got connections, and your teachings have been spread throughout the NFL. And when you need a guy for a position, maybe you can't get the guy that you want, but there's another guy who's been preparing under the guy that you want, who you feel is ready to go. Like, that's the advantage of being 66 or 60 whatever in the game, and having influence, because Fangio's defense is an influence. Like, we talk about Holmgren and the Shanahans and all that stuff. Fangio's defense is all through this league right now. So it's rewarding for him and for everyone who runs that defense when, like, the Godfather himself finally wins himself a championship.
Was it him that had, like, hey, this focus on two high safeties and right? Like, and so we all thought,
front,
like, exactly. And we all thought, like, oh, with Quandre and Jamal, like, this could be really good. Something before we saw what it looked like, in theory, I was excited.
Yeah, the reason why I like the 3-4 is because just your edge rushers are so dynamic. You know, like when you're in your traditional 4-3, you have your hand in the dirt every down type of dudes, like a Myles Garrett, a Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, which guys who are good, let's not get it twisted, they can play. But you get in that 3-4, that's when those outside backers, those edge rushers are versatile, where they can put their hand in the dirt. They can get in a 2-point. They can drop it to the flat if you want to. It's just a different type of player that you get.
Yeah. All right. Get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. There was one more thing I wanted to. Oh, now I remember. I didn't get to this in What Caught My Eye, and the Clint Hurt conversation reminded me of it. We've been spending the entire 4 hours of our show talking about what Seattle can learn. I forgot how bad Philly got on defense last year. Like, I forgot how much they completely collapsed to the point. Was it only last season when they fired Patricia and, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. He was here for a minute. Desai.
Oh, Sean Desai.
Yeah, where they were like, turns out we have co-defensive coordinators. Just kidding. Now we have no defensive coordinators. Like, it was just a mess. So in the theme of what we can learn, I wanted to add on quickly, going from Philly 30th in points allowed to number 1, that those single season turnarounds are possible when you get so many of the right pieces.
Yep.
So your point about Vic Fangio, I'm so eager to see what Mike McDonald can do with a full off season. You know, they have a new draft class coming in, new free agents. So, yeah, going to be a fascinating offseason for Seattle. And with that, the NFL season has come to a close. Can't believe it's already over.
Dang.
I know. Get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776.
The Hot Stove Show, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m.
Have I ever told you how much I enjoy doing the Hot Stove Show? Every day. I mean, this is truly one of the best ways that we have to get to know some of these guys. Long-form conversation. You don't have the pressures of the season. You're not in the clubhouse, right? There's not a hitters meeting or a pitchers meeting to go to. I think we get some of our very best stuff from all these guys, players and coaches, front office members, right here each and every week during the winter.
Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason. The Hot Stove Show, every Tuesday leading up to spring training.
Stacy Ross here, and if you're like me, you've been putting off getting a new car for years. Maybe you don't want to take time to shop or you don't feel comfortable with more spending, and I get it. But I finally had some repairs for my car that felt like too much to overcome. So I pulled the trigger on a new vehicle, and I knew just where to go. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. I went over the selection of new and used cars at wayscarford.com. A ton of Ford models like Broncos, but also models from Kia, Chevrolet, Toyota, and more, all at amazing prices. The shopping experience in person was amazing. You guys know how much trust matters when you're shopping for a new car, so I knew I could depend on Wayscar Ford, a company that's been in business for over 100 years in Auburn. I ended up with a 2024 Bronco Sport. I'm obsessed. In hindsight, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. Heated seats, a heating steering wheel, and four-wheel drive in the winter has been a game changer. So head to wayscarford.com to check out the selection for yourself. I know you're going to enjoy the process as much as I did. That's Wayscar Ford in Auburn, wayscarford.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 4th, get fast, reliable Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires PayPal split on auto-pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Washington's biggest night out for sports is the annual Sports Star of the Year Awards. Join the Seattle Sports Commission for the 90th anniversary of Sports Star and experience red carpet interviews on Media Row, a champions gallery of sports memorabilia, and a live awards show created for the sports community by the sports community. Don't miss your chance to be among the stars on February 27th at the 90th annual Sports Star of the Year Awards, presented by Microsoft. Get your tickets now at seattlesports.org.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
This is Steve Almond at Pacific Power Batteries. We have a message about charging lithium-ion batteries. Be very careful. On our website, we show you how to prevent fires or explosions by not using some aftermarket chargers or charging below 32 degrees. New battery, new charger, charge it outside in a sealed container or while you can watch it during the day. Please visit our website, pacificpowerbatteries.com, for more tips to avoid a fire or explosion. Yikes!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know. Any question you have, text it to the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. What I Need to Know, says our first listener. Who's cornier, Drake, Russell Wilson, or actual corn?
I got to go with Russ, man.
Yeah.
Russ is a cornball, but, it's okay. As long as you're okay with who you are, that's all that matters.
You know what I'll say about Russell's corniness? He is the corniest of the bunch. Russell has never fought his corniness. Like, he's tried to be kind of smooth with it sometimes, but, Drake really fights his corniness. You know what I mean? Tooth and nail, Drake will fight his corniness. He kind of leans in once in a while. And I will give him that I thought he was good on SNL. He's a good live performer. He can be, when he leans into his corniness, he's funny.
Yeah.
But when he fights against it, he can be problematic, which is Kendrick's issue. Did you also know that corn is technically a fruit?
Is it?
Okay, Derek and I were talking about this the other day. It's eaten as a vegetable and sometimes a grain, but, quote, it is actually classified by botanists as a fruit.
Liars.
So it's like tomatoes.
It's got seeds.
Or green peppers, exactly. Cucumbers and things where we're like, that's obviously a vegetable. It's not.
Interesting.
Secret fruit.
Secret fruit.
Yeah.
Right.
866-979-3776. Bump, can you explain all the discourse around the whole too high safety thing this year? Because it's not like cover two or deep zone looks are new. It's confused me for a while why people were up in arms about it.
Because when you play too high, you lose a guy in the box for the run game, and the Hawks struggled to play against the run this year. So I think that people thought, all right, we'll take one of those safeties out and move him into the box. You got more bodies, and you'll be good to go. So, yeah, that's probably it. And you just got to run a defense that fits your personnel. So maybe folks thought this wasn't the right defense for this personnel.
Yeah. 866-979-3776. Someone said, wasn't it always, when Clint Hurt was here in Seattle, even though he was DC, wasn't Pete really calling and coaching the defense?
Nah, I'm sure Pete had influence on the defense, but when it came down to it, Clint was calling the plays.
Yeah.
That was him.
Loved the halftime show, says the 206. Would you say it was top 5 compared to other Super Bowl halftimes?
I would say Rihanna's was better. The LA one was better. Michael Jackson, come on, you can't top Michael Jackson. I think, did Whitney do halftime, or did she just do the anthem?
Wait, who?
Whitney Houston.
Just the anthem.
If
she did a halftime, I didn't watch
I love me some Shakira and
I was going to
J-Lo.
ask about Shakira and J-Lo.
In
Miami, too.
In Miami. Nah, it's outside the top 5 for me, but it was still good.
Yeah. It was, I agree. Absolutely. Outside the top 5. But you know what? I don't remember a lot of Super Bowl halftimes from when I know there are people that are like, what about when? I know Britney Spears did one.
Prince was dope. I had to go back and look at that one.
Yes.
In the Rain.
I thought at Super Bowl 50, when Beyonce and Bruno Mars were there in addition to Coldplay, I was not excited at all for Coldplay, but then I thought that they did a good meshing of all 3 artists.
Mm-hmm. It was weird that Bruno Mars was at 50 and at 48. They hardly ever have somebody do two that close to him.
I'll give Bruno Mars credit that he's like the ideal Vegas performer.
Mm-hmm.
Like just
broad appeal.
Yep. Broad appeal, entertainment factor, soaks up the spotlight.
Moms love him.
Yep. Moms love them. 866-979-3776. What I need to know, Bump, is Uncle Mo, a.k.a. Uncle Momentum, related to Little Bobby?
Uncle Momo. Nah, because Little Bobby don't work off momentum. Little Bobby is off of just instincts, and it gets Little Bobby in trouble. That's why he's on JV.
I always say that. What I need to know. What should the Lakers do to fill the void in the middle?
Man, they got rid of they didn't get rid of it. Williams didn't pass the thing physical.
Oh, yeah.
So now we don't have him. I would have just said, all right, man, forget it. We'll get you healthy. Come on, let's go. Let's get it done.
They're like, no, we're telling you right now, his body is falling apart. You're like, that's okay.
We'll put them together. We got doctors out here.
Yeah.
You guys don't have doctors like we do. You know? I don't know what they should do.
We have lots of juice places.
They got to pray. Trade deadline is gone. Just pray. That's what you need to do. Play small ball for the rest of the year. Get better off season.
Sushi or wings?
Wings. I don't do seafood.
Oh, yeah. That's an obvious one for you.
All of it.
Sushi.
For the Super Bowl?
Sushi anytime.
Anytime. Sushi everywhere.
It's so good. I think sushi's amazing. It's not my favorite thing on the planet. Like, I'd go pizza over sushi. Sushi's so good. Let's see. 866-979-3776. What I need to know. What are the odds of Aaron Rodgers, now reportedly on the outs with the Jets, in Minnesota, following in Favre's footsteps?
No.
Yes.
Not happening.
Oh, my God.
I remember when Favre was on that crazy playoff run, I was in Vegas watching one of his games. It was exciting. Good times.
Yeah. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers goes? I mean, the Raiders need a quarterback. I can't see Aaron Rodgers backing up anyone.
No, he's a starter.
Titans? No, the Titans will have their guy, obviously. It's number one pick.
Well, maybe they,
have him sit.
Yeah, and let Aaron do his thing.
There are lots of good examples of quarterbacks having spent a year just developing behind someone.
I also think Aaron wants to win, though. He's not just going to play football to play. He wants to feel like he can win.
But what's a team that is right now a quarterback away? Not the Titans. I mean, the defense was fine at times.
The Jets.
True.
Oh, there aren't many out there, Stacy.
I know. I mean, Minnesota, I guess.
Maybe, but
JJ's
you got JJ
there.
over there. JJ sat for a year.
Nowhere where there's a quarterback who's certainly not there next year. Like, there are ones where you look at it and you go, well, maybe, the Falcons, and you're like, okay, well, Michael Penix is there now.
You think he goes to New York and says, look, I got neighbors, I got a receiver over there at least.
So if the Giants don't obviously get their quarterback, go cross town.
Yeah. Say, look, you already got a spot. Just don't break the lease. Hang out for a little bit.
Does he get more flack than deserved for his performance this year, or was it really bad?
I mean, it was bad. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't what you were expecting. He had a mediocre season when it comes to his expectations.
866-979-3776. Someone said, what are the top 5 worst halftime performances?
Worst?
Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, that was bad.
So bad.
That was bad.
I don't even remember that. Maybe I blacked it out.
I just say this because it wasn't my cup of tea. Like when The Who did it, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know. I respect who you are in the music world, but it just wasn't for me.
Where would we rank Justin Timberlake's return to the Super Bowl for Super Bowl 52? Right? Was that when he did the...
Was it the Minnesota one?
Minnesota one, because there was a Prince tribute. Am I remembering this correctly?
Right. Maroon 5 was terrible. That was 2019. I've got a list of all the Super Bowl halftime shows. That was the one where Adam Levine just didn't wear a shirt and...
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't good.
Who was it in 2012? Or, oh no, obviously Beyonce. How did I not have Beyonce in here? She shut down the lights at the Superdome.
Shut them down.
The game got delayed. Curtis, any other really bad ones on there?
They have a lot of stuff from like the 80s with Up With People. That was a troupe that would go around. The NFL was really cheap on their halftime show back then.
Back in the day, they were like, who would do it for almost free? We give you coupons.
I didn't really think Madonna's was all that good. She was, I think, 2011, 2012.
All right,
Someone
you guys.
just told me there's a blizzard in Monroe. It's sunny out here.
I don't know what to tell you
about. What the heck, man?
This is your fault.
Monroe is in the sticks. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm in
you got to
Canada.
deal with this now.
I'm in Canada.
That'll do it for us today. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
I am strangely optimistic. Players get better, and I think that they're doing the best that they can.
So you're happy with you're pleasantly surprised by the offseason?
I'm not happy. I think I lowered my expectations. I'm not being sarcastic about that. Just going into the offseason, I was like, I don't think that they're going to spend any money. I really don't. And
you were
guess
right.
What? I'm not disappointed. I won't say I'm right. I mean, I'll just say that I'm not disappointed.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at PCFgroup.com, PCFgroup.com.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we are committed to giving you quality workmanship and white glove service that exceed your expectations. Get our exclusive leak armor installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people, and we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships, because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck, and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees, because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Bring on the sunshine with a trip to see your Seattle Mariners. Come to sunny and warm Peoria, Arizona for another great year of spring training baseball. There's no better time to wind up at the Peoria Sports Complex, where you can see all your favorite Mariners up close. Spring training in Peoria has plenty of sunshine, warm temperatures, and the best seats in baseball. It's family fun for all ages. Book your trip today. Support your Seattle Mariners in Arizona for another exciting spring training season. Get your tickets at PeoriaBaseball.com.